associated economic
one in Chicago,
American families are facing thousands of dollars.
So there are concerns right now that banks are foreclosing.
No question, a national security issue at the forefront. Do you believe, Scott, that a recession could hit in a powerful way over the course of the next 2 years if the American economy stays at this rate of not only dealing with inflation of the past, but again, $38 billion of debt, and that roughly breaks down to at least $120,000, if not more, of the debt per American citizen. So even those who are babies, so let's just say 6 months old to 18 years old, who really aren't in control of their own assets, nor are they in the world on their own yet, still responsible for that debt.
It's a concern not just for us today, but for our children's children.
This is what I used to
What's the
pay
future
for the
going to look like
exact
for
same
America?
coverage as you can see.
And the problem is, we're, as a world right now, we're on the brink
All you need to do is
of
just
world
fill out
war.
this form.
I mean, this is a concern, not only in America, but around the world. People are looking at this, and it's almost like everyone's tiptoeing on eggshells right now. I am first and foremost, a Christian and a believer in Jesus Christ. So he goes before everything in my life. But I also want to do good by the American people. I believe in gold and silver. We're concerned with an economy crash. This is a real thing. A couple of years ago, we would say, "Oh, that will never happen. That will never happen." Gold is at $4,000.
He has specialized in
When gold and silver issues in
litigation matters,
2008, gold
and
doubled.
currently serves as co-chair of the
And we are, and we do not
Doctors submit practice in multiple U.S. courts of appeal and the United States Supreme Court. Special masters.
And he claims that this reckless action is needed to stop Republicans, in his words, and I'm going to quote
10
him,
p.m. Eastern, right here.
from taking health care.
Seaboard.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the quorum call be suspended.
Without objection.
And I move to proceed to calendar number 168, H.R. 5371.
Heading off
Clerk
to their
report.
bilateral meeting.
Motion to proceed to calendar 168, H.R. 5371, to terminate national emergency declarations that enable President Trump to go to Brazil and Canada
relationship is cordial.
November
We've heard
5th,
optimism leading.
Mr. President,
U.S. Supreme Court
Democrats are
cases challenging President Trump.
grasping at straws. The other day, the Democrat leader came to the floor and tried to reboot the notion that the clean CR sitting before us here in the Senate is a partial CR.
And they voted to deny food
Yep.
On tariffs,
Apparently a bill with no partisan add-ons, strictly a bill to fund the government, is a partisan bill. Democrat leader, of course, continues to try to push this ludicrous narrative that Republicans or President Trump shut down the government. That's right. The party that demanded nothing and put forward a clean, nonpartisan bill is the party that shut down the government. And the party that demanded $1.5 billion to keep the government open until Friday, until Halloween. That's what their bill would do. $1.5 trillion in new spending to keep the federal government open.
Doing so would restore appropriate procedural deliberation.
I wonder if Democrats have seen some of the recent headlines like this one. I quote, benefits still and some pressure on the Senate Democrats, end quote, and, quote, largest federal workers union calls for an end to the shutdown, putting pressure on Democrats, end quote. It's putting pressure on Democrats, not Republicans. Now why? Because Republicans are ready to reopen the government today. We're not demanding a single thing in exchange. Democrats are refusing. In fact, the Democrats' latest ploy is, get this, moral outrage that the president isn't stepping in to save Democrats from the consequences of their actions. That's right. That's outrage. Outrage. They are coming face to face with the consequences of their decision to shut down the government. And so they're flailing around, blaming President Trump for not stepping in to somehow save the SNAP program from running out of money to pay benefits. That's right, President. The very same people who were content to let the special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children, more commonly known as WIC, run dry are now positioning themselves as crusaders for nutrition benefits.
November 5th, this law, 25, the U.S.
President
Supreme
Trump
Court law
did step in to save Democrats from themselves on WIC.
to impose global
He somehow managed to find money to cover the program for the time being.
This law,
But there is a limit to what he can do.
the law is clear that the president
That's kind of
does not
the
have
reason we like to, have the government open.
And they voted to deny food assistance.
But apparently Democrats are still not willing to contemplate allowing the government to function. Because the SNAP bill that they tried to use yesterday was not just a cynical political ploy to insulate themselves from the consequences of their own actions. It was also a disturbing signal. The Democrats are ready to continue the shutdown, I guess forever. Democrats had any end date in sight. Are there any consequences bad enough to give Democrats to reopen government? Because things are getting pretty serious, Mr. President. Shutdown had consequences from day one. But now, 30 days in, the consequences are really strong. Here are some headlines. Government shutdown could lead to $14 billion in lost GDP, the Congressional Budget Office. Shutdown could close Head Start programs this week, jeopardizing health. Shutdown crushes small business owners as losses hit billions. Industry leaders beg Congress to clean CR. Ongoing government shutdown threatens holiday. National Guard training grinds to halt and near shutdown with no pay in sight. U.S. government shutdown. 60,000 aviation safety staff face financial strain as crisis deepens. Largest federal workers union calls for clean bill and shutdown. Those, Mr. President, are just a sampling of the headlines out there, and they represent the consequences as the Democrats shut down. But when will the Democrats put them in for this, Mr. President? When the economy is in ruins, federal workers have lost their homes, housing assistance and small business loans and Head Start, National Guard training are distant memories. I hope the pain of the American people is worth the products the Democrats are getting from the liberal base. Mr. President, I don't know if listing out the consequences of Democrat shutdown moves in Democrats. I really don't. In fact, more than one member of their party, way more than one member of their party, described using the pain of the American people as leverage. Give me an example of some of the things that they've been saying. Starting with the Democrat leader, every day gets better for us.
They wanted to make sure that they rubbed it in your face. They wanted to make sure
Whip,
that they
the number
rubbed it
two
in your
position
face.
among House Democrats, says there will be families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few times, or the few leverage times that we have.
Democrats voted to take food off the table and
Senator from New
voted to
Mexico.
discontinue SNAP benefits. It is
Paying our
that
troops
simple.
gives the president more
Democrats
leverage.
voted to shut it down.
That's a
And they
really good
voted
reason
to
not to
deny
pay the
food
troops, right?
assistance to 42
Senate voted
million
Senator from Arizona.
national emergency declaration.
Asked about it, said, hey, I just go back and shut it down again.
They will reopen the
Next
government.
Just so y'all
Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. And although it's very pleasant tool to use,
They are providing to us.
very unpleasant tool.
Military and family.
Yeah, it's unpleasant all right there. The worker has lost his job, not getting paid.
Long said,
Democrats have created
first really understood
Of course, the Senate worker
focusing on the because again, it's a
Vermont, you reopen the government, you lose our leverage.
Them is our sacred obligation. So while we keep
It's all about
fighting
leverage.
for better health
That's what they're making it all about.
for all Americans,
Leverage.
my bill will pay our armed forces now.
The question is, when are American people going to matter more
I'm looking for
in their leverage, Mr. President?
That's how you want to invest?
If there are any Democrats out there who can still see beyond the demands of the far left base, if there are any Democrats who care about the damage this shutdown is doing,
Democrats in Canada voted
then I have the bill right there.
Doing so would restore appropriate procedures,
Nonpartisan continuing resolution to fund
benefiting
WIC,
millions of
SNAP,
Americans,
troop pay,
commerce,
air traffic controller pay, farm programs, housing assistance, our national defense,
business owners about
every single other government
by
priority.
tariffs.
They wanted to make
And
sure
the
that
We just need
Economic things.
5
more than a
Democrats
dozen
American
to show
families
some
are
courage
facing
and join the
thousands
3
of dollars
Democrats who are
higher
already with us.
Democrats
Thank you, Claudia,
voted
and my
We can
other
get this
colleagues
government
from New York
off
for
the
coming.
table
It's so
and
sad
All it takes, Mr.
to
President.
see what's
discontinue
happened to
SNAP benefits.
that great state.
Everybody knows that in the Senate it takes 50 votes
Democrats
to do
voted to
it.
shut it down.
Senate voted.
Democrats come down here consistently say Republicans have control of the Senate, the House, and the White House. The Republicans in the House, the Senate, and the White House are all agreed. Open up the government. But you can't do that in the Senate unless you have 60 votes. Meaning we have to have 2 Democrats. We have a few already. We need 5 Democrats with a backbone. 5 Democrats with the courage to take on that far left base. And say we care more about the lives of the American people than about
Democrats voted to shut it down.
Our Democratic
gaining some
colleagues should
political
be
leverage.
working with us.
This takes 5, Mr. President.
America.
Enough is enough. I urge my Democrat colleagues to agree to reopen the federal government.
Senate voted to make sure the national emergency.
President, I yield the floor.
And
I suggest you ask for the floor.
Canada, next week, Senate voted to terminate national emergency. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear a majority of trade cases challenging Brazil and Canada authority next to impose global tariffs under the emergency powers act. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear a majority of trade cases challenging President Trump's authority. The law is clear that the President does not have authority under the Emergency Powers Act. The law is clear that the President does not have authority
We're arriving, ending mileage 19.4, 19.4.
Arriving, ending mileage 9.7.
19.4, receive. 405 to 318.
Radio check.
Charlie to the area. Yeah, I checked both north and south.
Unit 2, fast line,
Also,
gates
that
1
Cairo 34 area.
27, receive.
Highway 44, Cairo 81, William D. Receiver, 6137. We had 601 north 19, 601.
A great idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these
is for
haunted
the Democrats
houses
to
to
do the obvious
businesses who can
right thing and go for the
breathe new life
nonpartisan
into
funding
it.
measure so that we
That
can turn
trick
everything
would
back
be a real
on. Then we will get
treat
back
for
there,
the
and then we will debate all these other
taxpayers.
Chinese issues. But right now,
Reduce
the first job of the government is to
bring
keep it
in
in operation
billions of
and take care of the
dollars
people who
from
depend upon all these
monstrous
services.
So I'm not going to
in
answer
order to
It's an
live.
idea
It's
of
nonsense.
being a zombie
You
wouldn't
should
like.
be asking them the tough questions, why they're willing to inflict this pain on the people for their partisan political purposes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I checked both north and south.
Unit 2, fast line,
Also,
gates
that
1
Cairo 34
and
area.
27, receive.
Correct. Take care of you, representing.
Okay.
They are providing to us. I come from a military family. My father, brother, sister-in-law, uncles all served in the Army, and my father long said he first really understood what it means to be an American when he was responsible for others and others' lives when deployed. Taking care of them is our sacred obligation. So while we keep fighting for better health care, more affordable health care for all Americans, my bill will pay our armed forces now. It will pay active duty, reserve.
10, we'll be at 3725 Patel, 3725 Patel, Direction to David, Tosco, work off EMS1 at 1456. Go for engine 5. Yes, sir. Received a second call from the company requesting to cancel. They spoke with the key holder and they advised accidental. Received. Show us available. Received.
Our city, but will take over our state. And I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Claudia, and my other colleagues from the government. It's so sad to see what's happened to that great state.
Questions on the motion to adjourn?
But if you go back to November,
All those in favor say aye.
President Trump won an overwhelming victory to come
All those
back
opposed,
as
no.
president, defeating Kamala
As
Harris,
have it.
winning every.
You have it.
Incredible to watch. They gave us some.
Motion's agreed.
Then I said, slow it down, course.
Good boy, Tom 7824. Repeat, Victor boy, Tom 7824. Engine 9 received.
Black shirt, hoodie, named Megan Lopez.
Mr. Coons.
Well,
Thank you.
I think it was, I think.
Third business come before the Senate, move it.
The whole relationship is.
Without objection, so ordered.
I think it's
President,
really
if there's no
good.
further business come before the Senate, move to adjourn under the previous order. Questions on the motion to adjourn? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Unit 2, Franklin, engagement.
All those opposed, no. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes do have it. Motion
A
approved.
great idea for reviving the government's raised of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars.
Should go with this company instead, because they currently offer discounted qualifying cars for a full premium coverage. This is exactly what I did, and I just got my new premium. And I'm paying $28 for full premium coverage. This is what I used to pay for the exact same coverage, as you can see. If you want to make the switch to, it's free, easy, and quick. All you need to do is just fill out this form to get your quote within minutes. It works in any state or any age. Click the link below.
What do you think?
Three Charles, 28 County, LD 42.
208, 10-4.
Prerogatives on trade as means to secure durable outcomes. The Constitution grants exclusive authority to Congress to lay and collect taxes, duties, and impose an excise, and to regulate commerce with foreign nations. And exercising leadership on this front should be a priority in the context of today's challenging economic outlook. By establishing a more deliberate process for enacting
182, show me the area of Dawson for dismissal.
And give with,
38.
unit over. About 12.
Mr. President,
Democrat leader.
now I ask unanimous consent the form be dispensed with.
Without objection.
So, Mr. President, this weekend, Americans face a health care crisis unprecedented in modern times. Open enrollment begins in just 2 days, and Republicans have spent the entire shutdown with their heads in the sand, the shutdown they caused because they would not negotiate with Democrats. Republicans are pretending that the ACA premium crisis does not exist, but they should go ask families who are getting their insurance premium increases today, tomorrow, Saturday. Republicans have brought Americans to the brink of financial disaster. They've ignored a growing catastrophe. We've demanded they act. They've refused. The shutdown prevails. The health care crisis is on them. And the American people will see so this weekend. Bills start coming to show the breadth, depth, and severity of the ACA crisis. If the ACA enhanced premium tax credits expire, over 20 million people will see their premiums more than double. That's a 114% increase according to KFF. That is a fact. 4 million people on ACA plans will lose health coverage entirely
benefiting the millions of
if
Americans
these tax
who
credits don't get extended. That is also a fact.
and the certainty
If these enhanced tax credits expire, the people hurt by far the most will be working families. People who live paycheck to paycheck, and small business owners, farmers, ranchers, older Americans. They're all going to be sitting at their kitchen table this Friday night or Sunday evening and saying, how the heck are we going to pay these bills? We can't afford $4,000 a year for health insurance. My kids get more health care. We have to leave the doctors who have been treating us for a long time, travel 50 or 100 miles to go to a clinic or a hospital. Are my parents going to be kicked out of their nursing home? I have no place to put them. This is a fact. People probably than any other health care crisis we've had. Americans who work more than one job, Americans who live in red states will all be hurt. That's a fact. And here's another one. This crisis didn't come out of the blue. It's not that people are just learning about it.
Taking care of them is our sacred obligation. So that we keep fighting.
Democrats have demanded that Republican leaders negotiate with us about this crisis since the summer. Republicans said no. They put together a partisan bill that did nothing to improve the health care crisis, that had no input from Democrats, and said take it or leave it. Republicans had more than 3 chances this year to vote on extending these ACA premium tax credits as far back as February. What Republicans say, no, no, and no. Today, Republicans still insist they will not move a muscle to fix ACA premiums until it's too late. They spent the entire shutdown avoiding talking about health care. And that didn't work. They resorted to lie, just making up total lies about who gets the health care. And as they trigger a health care crisis, they're also now triggering a hunger crisis.
During the frantic scene,
Trump's doing that, halting SNAP benefits, ordering his own Department of Agriculture to rip its own contingency plan. The money's there, over $6 billion in emergency funds that could keep SNAP going, and Trump has said, don't spend a dime. We want to use hungry people as hostages in this crisis.
associated economic
In our country,
American families are facing thousands of dollars in higher
Meanwhile, here in the Senate, this is still Leader Thun's position on the ACA. Let's deal with this House fire later. But the House is on fire. Republicans are living in fantasy, pretending as if the issue will fix itself. But starting November 1st, so many Americans are going to have to make choices. Do they give up their health care?
Great idea for
Do they have to take a plan that has many higher deductibles and co-pays, different doctors in different hospitals?
In the Army, and my father long said,
Watch their families
first really
suffer
understood what it means to be
when they're sick?
when he was responsible for others.
That's what reality looks like for people back home.
Taking care of them is our sacred
And yet our Republican colleagues do nothing. In Louisiana, the average 60-year-old couple making $85,000 a year on a Medicare plan will see their premiums increase by $25,000. That's right. How does that family come up with $25,000? People in their 50s, they're looking for their retirement. What are they going to do? In South Dakota, that same couple on the same plan would see an average increase of $26,000. In Florida, it's an annual increase of $27,000. Republicans have brought the American people to the grave. Republicans have refused to do anything. They've sat on their hands, stuck their heads in the sand, and now families, millions of families, from one end of America to the other, mostly actually in red states, face the specter of financial disaster. Because when healthcare costs go up, more people lose coverage, more people get sick, more people die. Republicans just don't see it. Now on the China deal. In the middle, the second... In the middle of the second longest government shutdown in American history, Donald Trump left the country and traveled all the way to Asia to meet President Xi, and what did he do? He bowed down. China has called Donald Trump's bluff, and Donald Trump has folded, leaving American families and farmers and small businesses to deal with the wreckage from his blunders, from his erratic, on-again, off-again tariff policies. Americans beware. Trump will spend the next few days trying to spin the so-called agreement as a win for America. But that is total bull.
What is the last thing he's
Don't believe
the obvious and right thing for the non-partisan funding measure so that we can turn everything back on. Then we will get back here, and then we will debate all these other extraneous issues. But right now, the first job of the government is an operation.
The so-called deal has left us no better off than we were before Donald Trump's trade war began. If anything, things are worse.
Asking them the tough questions.
Prices have gone up. China has agreed to nothing of substance that will improve trade between our nations. In soybeans, this has been a total capitulation. Donald Trump's trade war has decimated soybean farmers in the U.S. And this year, he's saying, isn't it great they'll buy half the soybeans China will that they bought last year, so many farmers are suffering. And then so many other farmers seeing that their Chinese customers who they sold soybeans are now making deals in Argentina and Brazil. Those are not one-year deals. Those could be 3, 4, 5-year deals. So the customers that Americans have are not coming back. China is still buying fewer soybeans this year from the U.S. than before China's trade war. How is that a win for soybean farmers? Trump's delusion is unbelievable. He starts a trade war, creates a giant mess for businesses, consumers, soybean farmers, and then he celebrates for trying to clean up the very mess he created in the first place. Don't believe Trump. Don't believe his BS. Created the mess. Now he's trying to clean up the mess, and he says, don't I deserve 17 pats on the back? Americans have heard this old song and dance from China and Trump before. I have long pushed presidents of both parties to take tougher action on China for its rapacious trade policies that have harmed American workers, American businesses. None, absolutely none, of the fundamental abuses by China are addressed in this agreement.
2025, the U.S.
Trump didn't even bother about talking about China's abuses against American manufacturing. He secured no clear actions from China to address their funneling of chemicals that fuel America's fentanyl crisis. In other words, he says we're doing something on fentanyl. There's nothing specific. A lot of lip service. And fentanyl that China makes, those precursor chemicals that go to Mexico and then are made into fentanyl and flooding across our borders. Nothing specific. Nothing real. More Trump. Maybe most egregious. This one, many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are furious about. He is the first president in decades to walk back export controls vital for our national security. Essential, handing China vital chips necessary for technologies like AI. Where are our Chinese? Where are China folks from the Republican side? I hope they're going to speak up and decry this abdication. America is handing out American-made Trump is handing out American-made technology like it's Halloween candy straight into the hands of our biggest allies. In the past, China's been desperate to get this technology, but now they don't have to worry. Trump's just giving it away. With these chips, China now doesn't have, can't make themselves. China will dominate AI in a few years, and it will have severe consequences for America and for the world. When it comes to chips, Donald Trump, it's not America first. For you, it's China first. So you can have some picture that celebrates so-called agreement that actually does. America will regret the move of sending these chips to China for generations. We will come in second from AI. This continues to happen. They will set the rules of the road. America's greatness will diminish, all because Trump wanted to claim a false victory and brag that he got a deal this year. The list of Trump's capitulations to China goes on and on and on. For months, Americans have been taking it on the chin, paying higher prices for everything from appliances to Halloween candy and Halloween costumes because of Trump's disastrous trade policy. And now, looking at this agreement, it only begs the question, what was it all for? Trump had no strategy, no planning, no strategic decision-making, and his bumbling has only emboldened President Xi, who must be laughing all the way back to Beijing. Flatter Trump with a few words and it gives away things that America desperately needs. It matters most when Trump comes face to face with autocrats and dictators. The American people know Donald Trump is all talk.
Tweedle dumbass and run away on maternity leave.
President Trump.
But now Tweedle dumbass is back, and we have a problem.
Basic health plan,
Getting hooked on megadesk was
something
my
our
own
state
damn
had
fault.
first done, lowered the cost for a lot of working families across the United States. Programs like
That is all I care about.
Those few
Getting
hours are right
more
now 7 minutes early.
megadesk.
It is approximately there 10 p.m. Eastern right here on our seaboard.
23 at the jail.
638, 10-4.
309, across from the school.
0.306 East 70J, 306 East 70J. It's going to be for an 18-year-old female. 648 tonight.
648, 10-4.
A great idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers.
As I come to the floor today, as the minority leader Chuck Schumer leaves the floor, because I saw some very interesting new polling this week about the Schumer shutdown of our government. It actually came from all places from CNN. Not exactly a Republican-friendly outlet. Let me share what the poll says. Since the Schumer shutdown began, approval of Republicans in Congress is up 5%. By contrast, Democrats are now in their weakest and lowest positions in 20 years. The American people are clearly paying attention to the damage being wrought on the American people by the Democrats. And the American people are sick and tired of the Democrats' dangerous political game. They resent being used by Democrats as pawns, as leverage. They resent being treated as pieces on a chessboard. Millions resent having their paychecks held back. Now it's been a full month, Mr. President. Americans know who's to blame for the Schumer shutdown. They heard the Democrats loud and clear. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, a Democrat from Rhode Island, just this Tuesday called the shutdown, he said, the only lever we have. People are suffering lever. Senator Chris Coons of Delaware said almost the exact same thing last week to a national television audience. He said, quote, frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. Even admitted shutdowns are reported, he said, unpleasant too. Then he voted for the 13th time yesterday to use the tool to keep the government closed. Food pantries in Senator Whitehouse's home state of Rhode Island are getting slammed. Democrats call that leverage. Families in Delaware are making, quote, backup plans, according to the news, just to get groceries. Democrats call that leverage. It's not leverage. It's picking pain. Pain for people for political purposes. It is a hunger to use it as a bargaining chip. Democrats refer it as unpleasant. We're now 30 days into the Schumer shutdown. It's the longest full shutdown in the history of this country. For 30 days, Democrats have chosen leverage over lives. They've chosen politics over paychecks. And they would rather fight President Trump than feed American families. This weekend, 42 million Americans will lose food assistance. Say that again. 42 million Americans. 1 in 8. Twice as many Americans are on the failed Obamacare exchanges that the minority leader was just talking about, which Democrats are still trying to prop up, even though it has failed on its promises to control costs. As the headline in the New York Times on Sunday said, Obamacare is pricey. Democrats are putting free health care for illegal immigrants ahead of American families, ahead of American seniors, ahead of American veterans, ahead of American soldiers, ahead of American workers. That's their priority. Free health care for illegal immigrants.
And they wanted to make sure that they rubbed it in your face.
We have citizens in this country, real people in real pain.
And they voted
count on food assistance to put food on the table. Now these families are living in limbo, and their balance is about to hit zero. So what happens to them next week? The Democrats keep the government shut down as they voted 13 times to do so. And what about the week after that? Families will go hungry because Democrats keep playing this dangerous political game. And even some Democrats are calling on the Democrat Party to change course. These are the words of Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada. She says, she was interviewed after listening on CNN, and I'll quote, I don't think federal workers should be political pawns. She said, I don't think we should swap the pain of some Americans for others. I think we should be lifting all of them up and helping them. Senator Cortez Masto is one of the few reasonable Democrats who has been voting for a clean, continuing resolution to reopen the government. Here's the simple truth. Senate Republicans have voted 13 times on a clean, bipartisan, continuing resolution to reopen the government. 13 votes for funding food assistance, for paying the troops, for paying federal workers, for paying TSA agents, for paying air traffic controllers, for paying border patrol, for paying Capitol Police who are here and have been working for the last month without pay. Every single time, Senator Schumer, radical Democrats have voted no. Voted 13 times against funding food assistance, against paying for our troops, against paying federal workers, against paying TSA, against paying air traffic controllers, against paying border patrol, and against paying the Capitol Police.
And they voted to deny.
And Democrats stand here and claim President Trump can fund food assistance on his own. You know what they're asking him to do is against the law. Democrats are not, in the words of Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon, powerless to fund that program. $9 billion. Democrats had the power 13 times to end the shutdown. They voted no 13 times. Democrats are the one that have the power. They're unwilling to have the American tried again yesterday. The clean bipartisan continuing resolution is sitting right there on that desk right now. Will be passed if we get Democrats to vote for it. Fund SNAP, it pays our federal workers, it pays our troops, it pays TSA agents, it pays our traffic controllers, it pays border patrol agents, it pays Capitol Police. It reopens the government, which is what we ought to be doing. We need 5 more Democrats to say yes. The most ironic thing about this, the hypocrisy of it all, is that Democrats had no problem voting for a clean bipartisan continuing resolution 13 times when Joe Biden was president. What's changed? They're not happy about that. They're not happy about anybody involved. So now they're more interested in what they describe as leverage than children's benefits. No wonder Republicans' approval rating has gone up as the CNN poll shows, and the Democrat poll has gone down during the shutdown to the lowest in recent years. Enough with the politics of pain, Mr. President. It's time to reopen the government, and it's time to feed these residents. Thank you.
Our Democrat colleagues should be working with us to implement U.S. Supreme Court will hear a majority of trade cases challenging the Trump's authority to impose global tariffs under the Emergency Powers Act. This law, the law is clear that the President does not have
congressional record and see we have a tradition here in the Senate. The tradition is that what we say on the floor is printed and available the next day right at our desk. It's kind of an amazing thing. It goes back to the congressional record being the record of proceedings of this body, and timely printing of it was part of the history. And I wanted to check and see, based on the statements made by my friend and colleague, the senator from Wyoming, whether the congressional record printed yesterday the efforts of Democratic Senator Ben Lujan of New Mexico to fund the SNAP program. Here it is. Page number is S7808 for the beginning of the debate by Senator Lujan, who came to the floor and wanted to make sure that we wouldn't have any gaps in coverage when it came to the SNAP and food stamp plan across America. He said the reason he did it is that 42 million Americans, 1 out of 8 people in our population, need help putting food on the table. And so the SNAP program doesn't sound extremely generous, $6 a day. Imagine if you had to feed yourself with that amount of money each day, the sacrifices you would make. So Senator Lujan came to the floor. Why was he taking on this responsibility? It's because he is the chairman, or the ranking member now, of the subcommittee that funds the SNAP program.
They've got to do the right
He came to the floor to make sure that there would be no gaps in coverage and people would still get their paychecks starting November 1st. Paychecks, but they were basically snaps, checks, and credit for purchases. And you know what happened? He came to the floor, there was an objection. The objection came from the Republican leader of the Senate. The Republican leader of the Senate yesterday, page S7808, congressional record, was asked if he would encourage Senator Lujan's effort to protect all the SNAP recipients across the United States. And he said, no, he objected.
American families are
He
facing
wanted to pass another bill. If we had a chance, Senator Lujan's request to make sure that there would be no suffering of anybody across America because of the SNAP program.
It means that tens of millions of American
Page S7808.
It means that
Now we have the argument that's made by Senator from Wyoming. One of the reasons that cannot be done is it's illegal. Well, that's a real hoot. As far as I'm concerned. So the senator from Wyoming said it would be illegal government shutdown to feed 16 million kids, 8 million seniors, and 4 million people on disability during the shutdown. Well, the last record shutdown under President Trump in the first term went for 35 days, and he kept the SNAP thing going. Was he doing it illegally? I asked the senator from Wyoming. I think not. In fact, the Trump administration, on their own website, acknowledged that they were going to participate in the SNAP plan, even if the government shut down. They did that on their website, and we have copies of it. And guess what happened to that assertion on the website? It disappeared. Just a few days ago, it disappeared. So a program they used under Trump's first administration, a program that they said they could follow again under this second Trump administration, the second Trump shutdown, disappeared magically from the website. So across America, some 42 million people, 12% of our population, will not be able to put food on the table because of decision by the Trump administration not to feed Americans. All the priorities, wouldn't you think that keeping our population towards the money, the medians to money, the food on the table would be the highest priority? Don't you think they can come up with the money for it? Well, it seems like the president can come up with money for Argentina. When he said Argentina was a terrible economic situation, and he was going to send $20 billion of American tax dollars to Argentina. That was a week or two ago. And then find $20 billion in the private sector to also go to Argentina. There was plenty of money for Argentina, but not enough money to pay for SNAP programs.
This law,
how can that be?
the law is clear that the president does not
We have 2 million
authority.
recipients of SNAP in my home state of Illinois, and we know we can take care of them.
This week,
The Trump administration
the
is
US
making the choice.
Senate
They have the
voted to
resources,
terminate national
they have the
emergency
authority,
declarations that
they
enabled
just don't
President
have the
Trump's
political
territorial
will
zone in
to take care of the
Canada.
problem.
Next week,
I was on a radio
November
call-in
5th,
show in Bloomington, Illinois
2025,
this
the U.S.
morning.
Supreme Court
We
will hear
talked
a
about the
majority of
SNAP
trade
program.
cases challenging
A
President
lot of people really depend on it. A third of the recipients are kids, another third are disabled, and a third are seniors. They're needy people.
Here's something most drivers don't know. The older your car, the cheaper your insurance should be. If your vehicle was made before
from the water, in the air, and the food that we consume. Scientists estimate we now consume a credit card's worth of plastics every single week, and that's just a disgusting thought, but again, through water, through food, through the air we breathe.
since January of this year, households
If you live in a Texas zip code and have 0 DUIs in the last 5 years, listen carefully. I was an insurance agent for 30 years, and what I'm about to tell you could save you up to 80% on your auto insurance. Here's what the industry doesn't want you to know.
New life.
Hi everyone, welcome to the United States Attorney's Office. I am Janine Pirro. You know, every day in America, we lose innocent victims to violent crime. And we get wonderful, their lives are taken from them, and the lives of those who loved them and cared for them are forever changed. They didn't do anything and they didn't ask for it, but all of a sudden, they simply leave this world silent victims while the rest of us watch the fight between good and evil that unfolds on the streets in the United States every day. It's why I came to Washington. It's why I took this job. It's why all of us are here behind me. From the police chief, to the FBI, to the prosecutors, to the marshals. We're all in this because of this fight. And it's why President Trump prioritized Washington to make it safe and beautiful. But it's why we're now making inroads. Over 5,000 arrests and over 500 guns taken off the street. The crime is still occurring, but we're solving cases. And this day is a very special day for everyone who's standing behind me. Eric Turpinian, as you know, is a 41-year-old senior at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. His life was about being an intern and living in Washington. I spoke to his mother again today.
Good afternoon, everybody. How we doing? Good, good.
Everybody said that.
Let's let these guys file out here. But, you know, what we just did was a little roundtable with leaders in the aviation industry. We've got leaders of labor represented. We've got leaders of businesses that are, of course, making the airline industry run. And I just want to hear from people about the stresses in the aviation industry, like the fact about the shutdown. And here's what I found out actually that leads me to every year. Because I think as much as delays have gotten worse over the last couple of weeks, everybody here is very worried to see more delays, more stresses on the people who are actually making the aviation system run, and more problems for the consumers, but also the great workers who actually make this incredible shining jewel of the American economy actually work and work on time and work safely. Here's the things that I worry. I worry about the people who are scanning our bags and making us get through the security line. I worry they're not getting paychecks. They're starting to get worried about how to feed their families and how to pay school tuition and everything else. I worry about the pilots who haven't gotten paid in a long time. I worry about the air traffic controllers who, of course, make this entire system extra safe. I worry about them, more worried about the credit card bill than they should be because they're not getting paychecks because Democrats are government. Now, I understand that a lot of Americans are sick of partisanship in Washington, D.C. Trust me, I've been here for 9 months in this job. I am sick of partisanship in Washington, D.C. But this is very, very simple. Every partisan dispute, every policy disagreement, all of these things we can talk about, we can reason through, we can disagree, we can shake hands and compromise on some of those issues, hopefully, but this is something that every single American, Democrat or Republican, or independent should be able to agree on. Open the government, stop this craziness, and open the government. It's causing way too many problems. Some of the folks behind me are the people who are dealing with the problems. Now let's just recap exactly what's happened politically in this town related to the government shutdown. We have had now multiple votes to reopen the United States government. The House of Representatives has voted affirmatively to reopen the United States government. 52 Republicans and 3 Democrats consistently vote to reopen the United States government, but we need 60 votes. So all we need to end the craziness, to pay the air traffic controllers, to pay the TSA agents, to pay the pilots, to make sure that the state benefits continue, to go out to the American people who need them. All we need is 5 reasonable Democrats to join 3 moderate Democrats and 52 Republicans to reopen the government. I will let Sean Duffy say something. Before I do, I just want to say to any Democrat in the United States Senate, we are happy to talk about any policy. We're happy to talk about health care policy. We're happy to talk about tax policy. We're happy to talk about regulatory policy, and not at the point that it's done. We do not get to take the American people's government hostage and then demand that we give you everything you want in order to pay our air traffic controllers. It's a ridiculous set of demands. Let's reopen the government and then let's sit down and talk about how to compromise our policy.
This week,
LAX, Dallas, we're seeing impact of this shutdown. That means so our air traffic controllers, their first paycheck they missed, well, they got 90%, 80% of the paycheck. That was in early October. They just missed their full paycheck.
Down here. We'll get
and you got to think, well, then the second paycheck comes. That's not when we have real disruption. Because every single day is other
I'll fucking see you all until you fucking die.
Which is very real.
I'll beat you until your ass
They travel 40 kilometers to the top of the center. They can't afford the very life expenses that they know those patrons. And so though we maintain safety, I'm grateful for the controls who come in every day. But I do think as this shutdown continues, you're going to see more pressure on the things. One group that we don't talk about a lot is we have technicians
and all these other issues in October.
I talked to you all about how old our equipment is. We have technicians that come in every single day to make sure this equipment actually works. They too are not.
I can give you dozens.
Doing so would install procedural degeneration of taxes on trade, benefiting millions of Americans whose livelihoods depend on international commerce, and the certainty that the Senate voted to terminate members of Congress ultimately were qualifying farmers.
Exactly what I did when I just got my now I'm doing the associated majority of customers. This is where I was talking about
and so Democrats don't get so
Look, the bottom line think about when you have to tell your son or daughter you can't play sports because you're not getting it. Think about when you can't play mortgage. Think about when you can't pay your tuition. Put the politics aside, get to the table, negotiate a deal, pass it, and see how right now, and then figure out the problems moving forward. And I want to thank the air traffic controllers. I want to thank the aviation administration for all their hard work and sacrifice they make. And look, security and safety of the airlines is paramount. Let's not compromise the safety. Pass it and see how. Thank you. Anybody else? Come on.
Well, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Secretary Duffy. Thank you all for being here with us today. And I want to start by really thanking the professional air traffic controllers,
Senate voted to terminate national emergency declarations that enabled President Trump's tariffs on Brazil and Canada.
They've minimized delays.
Next week, November 5th, 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear a majority of trade cases challenging President Trump's authority to impose global tariffs under the Emergency Powers Act.
The first couple of weeks has had no impact on the economy. But as every day goes by, this impact starts to grow. Airlines are a pretty good real-time indicator of the economy. And we start to see, still minor, but see the most impact. And we see that happening in the economy. It's been 30 days, and while I don't have a position on which partisan side and how things should be settled with healthcare, it has been 30 days. I also think it is time to pass it to NCR. Use that as the opportunity to get into a room behind closed doors and negotiate hard on the real and substantive issues that the American people want our politics on both sides to have.
let's get it clear.
So a lot of good negotiations done behind closed doors without the pressure, without putting the American worker in the American
Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into that
No, I don't think Americans should be afraid to fly because we've got great airline professionals who are keeping the safest aviation industry in the world afloat, but they're doing it with incredible stress. What I'm worried more is that if you have, let's say, a pilot who's now missed a paycheck, who's now telling his kids that they can't do things that they'd like to do, who's now worried about feeding his family, maybe that guy doesn't show up to work 8 days and gets figured out. That means greater delays for the American people. I worry about the air traffic controller who now has missed 2 paychecks, who's got to pay his credit card bill or his mortgage, or can't pay both. And decides, you know what, this industry is not for me. Secretary of Transportation made a great point in fight. I'm going to steal it right now because we got to get people into the air traffic control industry. We have a shortage of 2,000 people. How many of these people look to the future, see the congressional Democrats can't get their act together and say, you know what, we're not going to join air traffic controlling at all, which is going to further extend the election. I think that we have a safe system because these guys are doing heroic things in the midst of this terrible shutdown. But why don't we ask them to do so much without getting paid? Why don't we pay them so that they can be happy, they can do the best job they can do, and they're not worried about feeding their families because they're doing a very important job for all of Well, look, I'll answer that very briefly, but I really do want to focus on the shutdown that is affecting the American people. I think the president's truth speaks for itself. We have a big arsenal, obviously. The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes we've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly. We've been working very closely, even with nations that we don't have the best relations with, to try to limit nuclear proliferation. The president's going to keep on working on that, but it's an important part of American national security to make sure that this nuclear arsenal we have actually functions properly. And that's part of testing. To be clear, we know that it does work properly, but we've got to keep on top of it over time. And the president just wants to make sure that we do that.
I wanted to ask you, you said you're going to talk to folks on Capitol Hill after the government back up. If this goes on, getting everyone together on the shutdown here at the White House top and specifically on Twitter, does the news has to make more less
So I'm not going to answer. I've answered all the questions about nuclear testing that I'm going to answer. I want to talk about the government shutdown here. I'd like to focus on the question again. But to your point, look, I've never said we're not going to talk to congressional Democrats until they reopen the government. What I've said is we are not going to give in on policy demands under the threat of hostage. I mean, if any moderate Democrat or any Democrat period in the United States Senate wants to come over, they're welcome to talk to me for hours to an hour. I'm happy to talk to them about how to end the government shutdown. It's actually very simple because there's a clean CR and we've heard from everybody that would reopen the government. What we're also saying is that we're not going to allow anybody, Democrat or Republican, to effectively threaten any policy demand and to place that on reopening the government. We don't reward hostages. If Democrats want to talk about health care policy, let's talk about health care policy. If they want to talk about tax policy, let's talk about tax policy. They don't need to come in here and say, you give us everything you want, or we're going to shut down the government and not pay our pilots and not pay our air traffic controllers. It's ridiculous, disgraceful, irresponsible behavior. There have got to be 5 more moderate Democrats in this entire city who are willing to work with us to reopen the government. Well, here's the problem. If you go back to previous government shutdowns, what has happened is sometimes the president president has tried to make the shutdown as painful as possible on the American people. I give the President of the United States great credit and the entire team for trying to make this as painless as possible. The Democrats are acting responsibly. It doesn't want the American people to suffer because of it. But look, right now, this government, this administration, we're like guys running around, with a leak in a dam trying to plug it with bubble gum. And we plug one spot with bubble gum, we plug another spot with bubble gum, and we plug another spot with bubble gum. Why don't the Democrats just stop this entire charade and reopen the government so that we don't have to try to make this thing work on a shoestring budget, which is what we're trying to do. The unfortunate reality is we're starting to see this with our aviation industry. We're going to find out the hard way what's going to happen later. The American people are already suffering, and the suffering is going to get a lot worse. Not because the President of the United States has failed to make the shutdown painless. He's tried to do everything he can to make it as unpainless as possible. The reason that pain is coming and the reason it's building is because we're not passing real deal to reopen government. It's a very easy thing to do. So I'm going to let our great Secretary of Transportation answer this question. Look, it could be a disaster. It really could be. Because at that point, we're talking about people have missed 3 paychecks. They've missed 4 paychecks. How many of them are not going to show up for work? If you take the TSA lines that are already too long, even right now, and say half of those people don't show up for work, not because they're not hard workers or good people, because they've got to find a different job to feed their families. What happens when the security lines are not an hour long, but they're 4 hours long? What happens when pilots start not showing up for work because they're so focused on paying the bills they can't fly the plane safely? That's going to lead to massive delays. We want people to be able to get home for Thanksgiving. We want people to be able to travel for business, to make this entire region of commerce work. We want the aviation industry to work. It's not going to work unless the Democrats reopen the government. These guys are doing heroic things to make it work as well as it possibly can, but every single person I talk to in the world, they are worried that the delays are going to get to a point where it makes it very, very hard for people to fly. Sean? So, to answer your question, I track the business
October is a slower and we have to wait weather in October. And so we're seeing minimal disruption because of good weather and slow travel. So as we go into November, travel will start to look at families.
They've got to do the right thing.
From college. And if you don't have air traffic controllers who are being paid, they may want to stay on the job, but they cannot. They're going to have to go take a second job, and you're going to have mass issues throughout the airspace. People will not be able to go from one place to the other because we're going to check out that action question.
Alex Fisher from ABC News. Well, I'm curious, as a pretty is working on plan airports running smoothly. The other thing that I want to ask you is, you guys are really American. Recession here, healthcare premiums skyrocket. Obviously, the ACA tax credits expiring. I'm curious your response there.
That's the setup.
Well, you took a question about what we're trying to do to try to limit the effects of the shutdown on aviation. I think Sean will take us and address that, and I'll address the whole
So we are because of natural to keep the operational. I know Christi is working with TSA, so we are doing all we can to talk to government employees in case the system runs smoothly. So we can only ask them. And I, as a guy who had a lot of kids and worked a lot of money early in my life, I know the pressure that these families are under. I mean, these families go home, the clubs that are out is not going to go for money for basketball this season. The families try to actually say they can get rid of so we are doing all we can to make their lives to keep this and if I could just I love you guys about this question. Is it easy? Here's the solution. pass the clean CR. And by the way, I think you all, I was part of some shutdowns myself in Congress, and the tone of the press was very, very dramatic. You were rabid against Republicans who voted not to open the government up. And it seems like everyone is so docile. And so, like, what is the president going to do to alleviate the pain? I'm out of the mall. Anyone can go see the World War II Museum.
This week,
They can all go see the
Senate voted
Vietnam
to terminate
Memorial.
national emergency
Again, we didn't close
declarations
those
that
down.
enabled
This
President Trump's
administration is
tariffs on
doing
Brazil and
everything they
Canada.
can to
Next
alleviate
week,
the pain on the
November
American people. Go back to Barack Obama. He did everything he could to shut down
here a
pumps
majority of trade
in
cases
memorials
challenging President Trump's
across the
authority
city.
to impose
And so,
global
again,
tariffs
it's an
under
easy,
the Emergency
easy
Powers
answer.
Act.
Go ask the Democrats
This
that
law,
question. Say, what are you going to do to make sure that people get SNAP benefits this Saturday? Or they have health care assistance for their Obamacare. What are you going to do? Because we're doing everything we can on our end, but there's not much more we can do because the rules of the road by which we have to play. And so, again, I'm grateful for this because they care about the people. I just want to see the Democrats care the way we do. If they do, open it up, sit down, and
I want to answer the question all the time. We don't want the American people's health insurance premiums to go up. We're very worried about this. The president's been talking about this since before we even took office. We're inheriting a healthcare system that suffers from a real problem. We're fighting inflation because of that. We're seeing health insurance premiums skyrocket. Now here is a very simple proposal to the Democrats. Let's sit down and come to a compromise and work it out. You know what the Democrats' response to that is? Give us everything we want and we're going to shut down the government and keep it shut down. That is not reasonable behavior. That's not how you can compromise in this town. That is the way the Democrats have operated. They are trying to take us hostage, and we can't reward that behavior. If we do that, if we say, yes, of course, we'll give you everything you want to reopen the government, look what's going to happen in 3 months, we're going to come back to the administration, and they're again going to say, we're going to shut down the aviation industry, we're going to deny people SNAP benefits unless you give us exactly what we want. That's how a child behaves. That is not how a responsible governing party behaves in the United States of America. And let me make one final point, and I'm going to cut out this press box. Look, I've been a little bit unfair, and I want to correct this, because when I say the Democrats have shut down the government, it's actually the far left side of the Democratic Party, because to their great credit, 3 moderate Democrats joined 52 Senate Republicans to vote to reopen the government. We need 5 more reasonable Democrats to put the American people first and reopen the government. That's all that we're asking. Let's talk about health care policy. Let's make sure that we ensure that Americans' health insurance premiums don't go up. We want that, and we're willing to work with people for it, but they've got to reopen the government first. Sean came from a background not that dissimilar from mine. Sean O'Brien came from a background not that dissimilar from mine. There are moms and dads who are fighting right now because they're worried about not being able to pay the credit card bill and the mortgage bill. There are parents who have to look their kids in the eye and say, you know what, we're not going to do football this year. We're not going to do basketball this year because I can't pay for it because the federal government is shut down and I'm not getting a paycheck. Do we want those people who keep the aviation system running to not be able to feed their families, to not be able to pay for some of the things that make life worth living? The answer to that question is absolutely we want them to be able to afford a good life. The only way for that to happen is to reopen the government. It'll be good for those who fly. It'll be good for those who work in the aviation industry. It'll be good for the whole country. Just do the common sense thing, Democrats. Reopen the government. We need 5 Senate Democrats to join us. I hope that they will. Thank you, guys.
They wanted to make sure that they rubbed it in. They wanted to make sure more than a dozen in your face, more than a dozen.
1210, 10-4. 309, across from the school.
Call for Medic 10. Nueces, you're actually be closer to Medic 15. Medic 10, can you go around with engine 4 for that fall? 522 Evergreen, 522 Evergreen. Medic 15 will show you continuing to stage at bay.
5001, sir, so good.
Victor Boy Tom 7824, repeat, Victor Boy Tom 7824.
$664, 10-4.
Medic 15, you'll be with engine 17 on that signal, 3801 Sermon, 3801 Sermon, the Sermon place, health and rehab, room 2 and 0.
Oh my god. We're gonna have to rename it then, aren't we? Hello, Dwight Schrute. Oh, damn. Lost another file. Gonna have to reboot again. Hey, Dwight, do you want an alpha? What do you think?
Do anything illegal whatsoever. I mean, you could talk to the SEC. They were at my office 15 times over the last 6 months. So, I mean, I got nothing to hide.
Well, you know, the SEC is a civil regulatory agency. We pursue criminal activity.
Exactly. You go after real criminals, which makes me wonder what the hell you're investigating me for. I mean, honestly, what is it that you think that we did or do? I don't get it.
Well, mostly schmucks. Jordan, I can't discuss an ongoing investigation.
No, I get it.
With that said, back of Hustler and Popular Mechanics and our ads actually say they can get
by a hire-up who needs to make a show of looking into the new company on the block, all about guys, and everything, and then I end up being a schmuck who goes to the exactly. It just, it bothers me. We're the new guy. We're the one that's banging on Wall Street's door. I mean, you should see what's going on at the bigger firms. I mean, I know all the information. It's true. Goldman, Lehman Brothers, Merrill, collateralized debt obligations, this internet stock shit. I mean, it's like fucking travesty. I mean, I can take my job step by step to what exactly is my mind. All you have to do is ask. I'm available.
exactly what I want to do. I don't see why we're going to sit down like this. You can profit from this.
It should, right? Look, I'm going to give you my personal line. 5 days a week, you just call me if you're free. I'm being charged with a crime. Great.
Previous record?
Are you sure you guys don't want something to drink? I mean, you're not hungry? Nothing? Nothing?
Breathe new life. That trick.
Let me ask you, and if you don't want to get too personal, just tell me to shut up. Did you try to get your broker's license at one time? Did I hear that right? Were you trying to take a stab at Wall Street?
So I'm not going to answer it.
You know the fuck you right? You investigate gay ideas. You know what I mean? You ever think about what would have happened if you would have, stayed the course?
Like an institution or somewhere that's handled.
You know what? When I'm riding home on the subway and my balls are fucking sweating, I'm wearing the same suit 3 days in a row. Yeah, you
You bet I do. I've thought about it.
Great idea.
Wouldn't, right? Fucking wouldn't. I mean, what do you get? Another personal question you don't need to answer? No, that's all right, Jordan. What are you pulling? 50, 60K, something like that? Year?
To businesses who can breathe new life.
Let's put it this way.
That trip.
You get a free ticket. You sign up for the bureau. No, but what do you do? You know what I mean? You think about the people that built this country, hard-working people like you. You know, firefighters, teachers, FBI agents. End of the day, you guys get fucking skinned alive financially. It fucking makes me angry. And that's the one thing about Wall Street and this market is, for me, I feel it's good to give back. You know, there's situations where I can make those situations better for people. You know, opportunity is everything. Exactly. For example, I got this one kid, right? Went to school for environmental science, something like that. He was bogged down by a student. Turns out his mother needed triple high test. Horrible situation. But we got him into the market at the right time, chose the right stuff, gave him the right guidance. Boom, overnight, changed his entire life. Got to put his mother into the best hospital in New York City. It didn't work out for her. Granted, she passed away, unfortunately, but we gave him that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's just about setting up the right team, and then overnight, like, So in that situation, that particular trade, one trade, I do that for anybody. Anybody that needs a lot of
and to regulate commerce with foreign nations. Another example in exercising leadership on this front should be a priority in the context of today's but challenging economic outlook. Insurance through their jobs by establishing a more deliberate process for
just the way you said it. Just the same way. I don't know what you're talking about. No, come on, you know what I'm talking about. Say the same. I think what Jordan just did, if I'm not mistaken, he just tried to bribe him. No, technically I did. No, technically that's no. According to the U.S. Criminal Code, there needs to be an exact dollar figure for the exchange of services that will not hold up in the court of law. I heard it. Listen, I want to tell you this. The same gentleman that told me that you tried to get your broker's license also told me that you were a straight ass. They ran a security check. Well, you sail on a boat fit for a Bond villain, sometimes you need to play the part, right? I think it's time you both get the fuck off. What do you think? You know,
all right.
Most of the Wall
Alan
Street
Holt checking in, just jumping on our live feed here because the bridge is the Harbor Bridge, the old one, is just about to get set onto the barge, receiving barge in the port there, right in the ship channel. So I think the estimate on what time the bridge would be placed onto that barge is about 4:30, which is roughly 25 minutes from right now. Weather could not be more spectacular. Winds are really light, so there's no concern there. I'm guessing this is what they were waiting for. I'm just watching like everyone else.
We'll be seeing each other. Good luck on that Sunday ride home, you miserable fucking. I'm gonna have Heidi lick the caviar off my balls in the meantime. Hey, you guys gonna take some lobsters for your ride home? Fucking miserable pricks. I know you can't afford them. Fucking cheap fucks.
The bridge is about to get placed onto the barge there. So I'm going to put it back up full screen. Oh, we've got some different views. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So we've got some photographers that are. I believe this is Preston West's view of it. He's our chief photographer. And we're just panning around now. You can see how close that bridge is being put on the barge. It's pretty close. It's come a long way since this morning. And also look at the water. Look at the water around the barge. You're not seeing little, waves of white caps rushing up against it or brushing up. Sometimes when the southeast wind is really ramped up, you'll get little white caps out there, but we're not seeing anything like that today out at the ship channel, and it's nice. The weather's really nice. The water's almost like it's calm. It's really calm. So weather could not be better. It feels great outside as well. It's hard to believe we had a record high of 97 earlier in the week and then upper 30s this morning. But yeah, the cranes that are supporting this thing, you see it getting lower down. It's been slow. The process has been very slow. You can see the scope. There's a gentleman in a yellow vest looking at the project off to the left side of the screen there. And when you're looking at the perspective, you see how big the structure is. You see him walking around down there. He just went behind I guess that excavator there, or whatever that is. But when you see it compared to people, you really get a sense of how big the structure is. And it looks like it's really close, but it's still, tens of feet up. I don't know if that's a person up there. It looks like a little tank of some sort. The guy was walking around on the I guess on dry land on the ground. It's funny because there he is right there, the guy in the yellow vest. He was up right on the edge there. He's getting photos too, just like we are. So even the people working on the project are, they're all taking it in as the bridge is about to get set onto the barge. The main span of it. You see that there's still going to be some work to be done even after this. This is just really opening up the ship channel to larger vessels to come through there. And there's still going to be some dismantling of both ends of the bridge beyond today. So it's getting close, 20 minutes or so out from when the estimate of when that center span is going to be placed on that barge. There are a lot of people out there. I know, it's been one of these things where everyone wants to go to the aquarium, the Art Museum of South Texas to get the best vantage point. If you're watching us streaming here, this is a great view, a great perspective of all of it. I'm going to pull I'm going to switch over to the Lex cam so Preston can get a break here. That's the view from the Lex cam. You see it's really close to getting set onto the floating barge to receive it. And then I don't know exactly where they're going to move it. I know the plan earlier in the week was to keep it in the inner harbor, but I do think that eventually it goes out toward Ingleside once they take that span down.
And laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
And we're just watching along right with all of you as the bridge finally, after delay Monday, delay Tuesday. Yesterday was high wind, so that one made sense on the delay. Today, the best of the bunch so far. We've got another gorgeous day coming up on Halloween too, and it's getting close. About 10 minutes out. 20 minutes out. Sorry, 20 minutes out from the estimate. Again, people are going to do what people are going to do. I don't know if it'll be exactly 4:30 when it gets set on that barge, but it's getting really close. I'll switch back over to Preston, the chief photographer. He's got a great vantage point. It's just a great shot. We're like parallel to the deck of the barge there, so we're going to be able to see it when the weight starts getting put on the barge. We'll probably see it move a little bit as it absorbs that central span of the old harbor bridge. Really cool shots though. This is great perspective, ground level. I mean, I feel like I could hit a 9-iron out there and I could successfully hit it. That's how close we are. So that's about 140 yards maybe, I don't know, 150 yards, maybe closer. It's hard to tell, but
to build a solid foundation behind
it's close. Really great spot. See the cranes that are supporting the structure off to the side. It's an engineering feat to be able to lower this thing. One side not going down faster than the other, just keeping it very stable. I know as we've been watching at nighttime, we've seen sparks flying around as metal's getting cut, the workers up there, just disassembling everything, but really cool perspective. And I'm not an engineer either, so I'm not going to know exactly what's going on, but you see a guy up there watching all of it get lowered, and the perspective is amazing when you see how small a person looks compared to what's happening with the structure. It really adds that layer of it's a big thing that we're lowering so gently and slow. Really cool shot there.
On tariffs SJ88 and
it's getting close too. Look at that.
Members of Congress to work across the aisle to enact this legislation.
I guess we've got some
requiring an up or down vote for any new tariffs.
Some employees maybe from the port. They're out there circling the barge in a littler, smaller boat. They're making sure I'm thinking everything is all good. I don't know exactly who that is or who they're with, but I'm assuming it's just to make sure everything is safe. Just more sets of eyes to keep an eye out. And so they're clearly working out there. Water's so flat right now. I was looking at the marine forecast for tomorrow, and it looks like it's going to be glass-like on the water conditions tomorrow morning. So much so that the modeling on it thought that the wave periods were like 15 seconds, but I think the model was thinking, just in terms of wave period, but it's more so that it's going to be so flat that, yes, the period may be really long, but it's because there's no wave. So it's getting close. Know that for sure. I mean, not even the weeds are blowing. It's so calm out. It is so calm. So perfect weather for a project like this. So what I'm looking at here, just from this perspective that Preston's got, you see the 9 in the background. We're going to be able to use that 9 as a reference point as it gets lower and lower and lower. So it seems like it may not be moving, right? And right now it's not, but as that center span of the Old Harbor Bridge comes lower and lower and lower, it'll start covering up more of that 9. It'll be a slow process, but that'll be a good little reference point as we're watching it come down. It's almost like the sun, right? The sun, you don't really notice it moving a whole lot if you're just watching it, but it surely is coming down. And you see, like on that 9, maybe a minute ago, you could see the circle, the inner circle of the 9, and now you can't. So it's a really slow process. That's how slow it's going. And that 9, sure enough, is starting to get covered up more and more. It's the 9 with the blue circle and a black outline around the blue circle is what I'm looking at. Just as a reference to point out how slow, how creepily slow the bridge is just creeping down. So really great perspective, and you can see it, how it's moving compared to an object that's not. So we'll keep looking at that as we watch it come down over the next 15 minutes or so. And again, the estimate was 4:30 on my watch. I've got 4:17, so roughly 13 minutes out from this thing coming down. I'm going to switch over to the Lex Cam again, and you can't even see from this angle. You cannot see any daylight, or maybe a sliver of daylight or water on the left side there, but you know, it's coming down closer and closer to that barge. We'll pull this up full.
I'm an educated man.
And yeah, it's getting there. Long awaited. And you see the traffic flowing over the New Harbor Bridge in the background there. Wow, what a structure. That drive over that new bridge, if you haven't done it yet, is very smooth. You got more lanes on that bridge, and you know, it's clearly taller. So really cool view there. We're still on the Lex Cam. I'm Alan Holt, if you're watching us from outside of the area. One of the meteorologists on staff here at KIII TV. Really just wanted to be on here as this thing gets lowered onto this barge.
We were always planning
go back over to Preston's view. Preston is our
subsidies and all these other issues in October, November, December. The
chief
COVID-era subsidies
photographer.
don't expire until the end of December. There are all sorts of discussions going on about that.
And yeah, that 9 that we were referencing earlier, if you're just now joining, you wouldn't know it's a 9, but that half circle, it's a full circle behind the bridge coming down, that little blue half circle with the black outline. Just a great point to know that this is slowly dropping onto the barge. It doesn't look like it if you're just glancing at it, but as you see that perspective, it's easy to see that there is some slow movement happening. Couldn't be a nicer day. Took the baby for a walk this morning. Oh man, I mean, she was cooing. Loved it. So nice. Still is.
COVID-era subsidies and all these other issues in October, November, December. The COVID-era subsidies don't expire until the end of December.
And if you're wondering, yeah, Preston West is our chief photographer. He's been out there all week just getting these great vantage points. Looks like someone's about to get onto the receiving barge. Yeah, there they go. I'm curious. So I'm guessing these guys are like 6 foot, 5'9", 5'10". You see how many guys up it would be? Maybe what, 10 to 15 feet above their heads? That's about how high up the span of the bridge getting lowered onto that barge is. I would say, yeah, 10 to 15 feet. If those guys are 6 feet tall, maybe 12 feet above them right now. Great perspective. This is awesome. So I'm assuming they're going to have to really position this thing. It looks like there's some grabby type things. I don't know what to call them, but some little pronged features that'll grip that bridge and keep it from moving. So my assumption would be like that. And I'm sure they're going to have to line it up perfectly as they set down. There's that little blue half circle we were talking about earlier. But yeah, it looks like that may be like 10 to 12 feet up above the receiving bar. We're getting close.
Is there objection?
moving forward.
Investor Center, I'm looking for investors.
Spoke with a small business owner from Delaware. Her name is Jane. She's a stage 4 cancer survivor. She's a small business owner. She told me yesterday without the
This is the vantage point from Preston West, our chief photographer. It looks like he's on the south side
That trick would
of
be
the
a real
ship channel
treat
there.
for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring
It's going to be weird not seeing that iconic art down the Harbor Way. And our news team has been all over this all week long. We were kind of joking on Monday night after it didn't come down. We're like, oh, we're going to practice it. And then Tuesday it didn't come down. And we're like, all right, well, we know how to do this coverage when eventually it does. And then we got sunny delight. Yeah, they're starting to get more some tug, probably to stabilize that charge. Not a captain, not an engineer, just a guy watching this all happen with you.
It needs to be with elimination of fraud, waste, and abuse and issues in October, November,
right
December.
up against.
The COVID era subsidies don't expire until the end of December. There are all sorts of discussions going on about that, all kinds of ideas. There's I could give you dozens of them that have been collected just in the House Republican Conference. There needs to be massive reform. There need to be income caps. There needs to be the elimination of fraud, waste, and abuse in that program, which we think.
So you see the tug coming in. Preston's at the Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History. Great spot. Thankful they allowed our cameras in to get all
We'll settle for Obamacare because that's a step toward government-run healthcare. That's one step toward a single-payer system. That's one step toward.
Can't even see that semicircle we were looking at with the 9 on it. It's still coming down. And it's really close to those little prong structures on the receiving barge. It's getting close to that, like probably 5 feet or so. I'm thinking those things will be the first to touch the bridge, maybe even less than that. The space between there, you know, you see the guy in the red suit there. I mean, maybe it's like 2 or 3 feet off from that pond. Oh, he was on a step. It fooled me. They're going to anchor the tug to the barge.
We're going to see on November 1st that everybody is going to see how much these costs are going up. I'm asking my colleagues to roll up our sleeves.
Really cool perspective. I wonder if this person knew that their knot tying skills are going to be watched by everyone watching this with us. Okay, we're just going to wrap it again.
On something our state had first done, lowered the cost for a lot of working families across the United States. Programs like what they want.
It would be like Medicaid for all, or the VA for all. They want control of your doctor, your health insurance, the kind of care you... great idea for reviving the government's
Three minutes out from 4:30, that's the estimate on when that center span is supposed to touch down onto the receiving bar. And it's close, very, very close. Another great view, great vantage point. He was at the Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History. And if you've been there, you know it's right on. Just about the back side of that building goes right out toward the ship.
And that they will reopen.
I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled show be
without objection, do their job. Vote for this.
The clerk will report the motion to go close.
We brought some of our good friends
Really
to talk about the mess the Democrats have created in the Empire State. Now, why are we focusing on New York? Because again, it's a
the government instead
Right, we'll settle
using
for Obamacare
Jim and his family
because
as leverage.
that's a step toward government-run health care. That's one step toward a single-payer system. That's one step toward socialized medicine. That's what they want. It would be like Medicaid for all or the VA for all. They want control of your doctor. Great idea for reviving the government's great care of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here watching with everybody else.
That
I mean, it's really close. I'm thinking the first things that are going to touch it are those little angled prongs that you're seeing. That'll be the first part to catch that central thickness of the whole Harvard. And you know, what I'm watching also is, you see how the guys are walking around? No one looks panicked, no one looks frantic. He's just making sure everything's good and they're just business as usual, ho-hum, making sure everything's lined up. He's going to check something, okay? But no one's running around or anything, and so I'm just going off their body language. They're checking though. Look at that. Wow. So that's an important piece there, what we were talking about. Those pronged little rods coming up there to, I'm guessing, latch on to something that's on the underside of that central stand.
Increase from going from $314 a month to $452 a month. Another example from a family of four in Texas, parents making $70,000 a year. Don't
digital content. You can come and jump on, Bill. No? Okay. We didn't want to jump on. We got people way smarter than we were.
Appellate litigation experience will also bring a practitioner's perspective to the court.
About assigning land.
The Nonpartisan American Bar Association unanimously.
So now I'm looking for another little marker point to see, you know, where the bridge is and if it's stopped moving or is continuing that slow creep down to the barge. And it looks like it's stopped for the time being. It's 4:31 now, 4:30, 4:31. So that estimate was pretty close. You see that guy going up in there. I mean, and there's got to be like space, you know, where the iron is. It's not. It's probably not just a straight up flat hump that's coming down. I'm sure there's.
He'll be sure to give you a raise.
Gaps in there, but they seem to be looking at that one area.
That is so
who
stupid.
had the basic health
What if he
plan.
gives it to you?
The basic health plan provision modeled on something
You
our
know what?
state
I am
has
going to
just
zone
done,
you out
lowered
the
the
rest of
cost
today.
for a lot of
I need
working
to stay
families
focused.
across the United
And I
States.
don't have to see you tomorrow or
Programs like
Sunday, so call me.
People
We're
are
scheduling going
struggling in the
Monday.
meantime to put food on the table, and the Democrats are too busy playing politics to do anything.
Yeah, everybody's
about it.
looking pretty
It's
calm,
disgusting,
business
and it
as
needs to
usual.
end.
It's not business as usual to see something like this happening real time every day. I'm glad we've got this live feed from this angle. What a great perspective of the entire project.
It would be like Medicaid for all, or the VA for all. They want control of your doctor, your health insurance, the kind of care you...
Raising that up a little bit. I'm imagining right now, like, when you're sitting at a restaurant table and it's wobbly and you go down and you shove a bunch of napkins under one of the legs. That's what I'm imagining. I don't know if that's exactly what's happening, but maybe that would make sense to me given we're seeing those platforms getting placed in certain areas.
Exactly what I did, and I just got my new premium. And I'm paying $28 for full premium coverage. This is what I used to pay for the exact same coverage as you can see. If you want to make the switch to, it's free.
Definitely coming down. There's almost no daylight between the prongs now.
It works in any state for any age. Click the link below.
That trick would be a real treat for the tax concerns,
but not limited to the bipartisan Trade Review Act, as well as resolutions permitting the The Chamber urges members of Congress to work across the aisle to enact this legislation requiring an up or down vote for any new tariffs
Preston, I know you can hear me. I'm not going to get off of your shot for the foreseeable future on our streaming products. Just you've got such a great vantage point of the entire thing. It's amazing that you're right at the level of, it looks like the top of the barge. So we're going to see exactly when it gets, fully set onto it.
Beg your pardon. I'm not through with my examination. Sit down.
Oh, cool! Look at that. Some of the prongs are
Colonel. What's that?
on the outside.
I'd appreciate if he would address me as Colonel or Sir. I believe I've earned it.
Defense counsel will address the witness as Colonel or Sir.
For a second, I thought those were all completely under the span of the Harbor Bridge, but looks like they're straddling it. So you've got some on the outside and then some on the inside. There's probably the same thing going on the other side.
If something like that happened, I basically, if the kid was retarded, I would, drive it up to the country and just open the door and let us say, you're free now, run free.
Your security environment. Peace cannot be preserved by words alone. It can be protected only when there's a neighboring
You look like a fuck. We would take it to an institution or something.
When you learned of Santiago's letter to the NIS, you had a meeting with 2 senior officers. Is that right? Yes. Platoon Commander Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick and the Executive Officer Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Markinson.
Great idea.
Looks like it's less than what? I mean, less than 6 feet off of
I'd like to know just what the defense counsel is implying.
ground level of that barn. Seeing the height of that gentleman, he was taller than where the bottom of that set was standing.
Reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous.
Wild to think how many of us have driven over that structure over the years. I mean,
You know what? I am going to
a lot of people have driven over that bridge.
Okay, I need to stay focused.
We're talking about
See you
memories
tomorrow or
here.
Sunday. Please don't call me, and we'll see how things go on Monday.
So when I was growing up over San Antonio, we talked about this, I think Bill yesterday or Tuesday, something like that. Bill Churchwell was on. We were talking about memories, and I was telling him how my dad was really big in the racing community. He did a lot with like San Antonio Speedway, Corpus Christi Speedway, and we would come down for various races like the late model class or TIDA, if you know what that is. I always remember we would cross this bridge to get to North Beach, and that's typically where our hotel would be. We'd be staying on North Beach. I learned to swim in the hotel pool there.
New life into them. That trip will be a real
So
treat.
definitely memories of the bridge from prior to 10 years old.
Bring in billions of dollars.
And that bridge always meant we were just about there.
Civil litigation matters.
All
right, looks like they're getting out of the way maybe. They've got it all squared up.
Judge submitted
Getting out from under.
U.S. Court of Appeal and the United States Supreme Court. He has also assisted special masters.
It would be like Medicaid for all, or the VA for all. They won't control your
When you go in and you're leaving the house, you gotta go back and check and make sure the door's
in the
locked.
Army, and my father long said
Make sure
he
double
first really
check.
understood what it means to be an American when he was responsible
It looks like they're moving out
there will be then
unless you're just going to another area. Sometimes I'll triple it. I'll go back even one more time.
I know that it was over here at
yesterday without the
At some point, I'm gonna have to go and start knocking myself. Do you think that would let me just work in my polo?
Getting hooked on Megadesk was my own damn fault.
Go on in the polo?
I don't care about signing a claim. All I care about is Megadesk. That is all I care about. Getting more Megadesk.
Yep. So we're going to start seeing that daylight, that little sliver of light between that central span and the barge. That'll start to get thinner and thinner and thinner. It's very slow, but it's at snail's pace coming down, and we'll likely see, again, that little sliver of daylight start to go away as it gets set onto the receiving barge.
Going up. I'm asking my colleagues, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's roll up. Great idea for regularizing the government. I know that other lives.
I'm going to turn the microphone off for just a second.
You're not talking to Dwight right now. You're talking to Jim.
Dwight? Lowered the cost for a lot of working families across the United States.
Disconnect that right now. You give me your earpiece.
Can't do that. Relic 9, Engine 9, Relic 9, first group. Heath 1007, Field Commissions Shopping Center, at 4900 Ayers, 4900.
LNG plants. Another one was financed by people from South Korea and others. LNG, both of them, massive LNG. They were in the review process. One was 15 years, one was 16 or 17 years, and they were then told, forget it, we're not going to get it approved. So I came into government, I heard about it, and I love Louisiana. We did very well there. We did well in just about all the states, but we did really well in Louisiana. And so I got involved. The one plant that was in for almost 15 years, I got it improved in
Victor George Boy, 1790.
Engine 19, received.
He's only 30, 0040.
Okay. Check engine light, get back on. Medic 15, stand by for call there. Call for engine 17, medic 13, engine 17, medic 15 for a stroke. ESD is 1407. We'll be at 7
security environment. Peace cannot be preserved by words alone. It can be protected only when there is an unwavering determination and action.
あちらに見えるモガミとマヤを含む自衛官とジョージ・ワシントンは数多くの
My administration has rejected the old model of incompetent government that punished success and rewarded failure and made building anything almost impossible. When you come into our country, many are doing that. I think service like you've never. The whole relationship.
Without objection, so ordered.
President, if there's no further business, to adjourn under the previous
quickly.
We're rewarding those who build and
questions on the motion to adjourn.
Invest in the USA.
All those in favor say aye.
Between them. Now, the president for the last several days have been sounding very optimistic about this meeting. You just heard him right there saying briefly to reporters that he expected a very successful meeting. But on the table are some very thorny issues. Chief among them, the tariffs that the president had threatened 100% extra tariff a few days ago. He now seems to have backed off of that. But also, there were like
Toronto still faces gun-related charges stemming from his 2023 arrest near former President Barack Obama's home. In the memo, the prosecutors asked for a 27-month sentence. And new tonight, Vice President J.D. Vance answered questions earlier at a
Coverage 3. Dispatch, I'm going to be on scene at that dumpster fire. It is going to be just one dumpster.
Beforehand, President Trump putting on Truth Social just a couple of hours ago. Very much looking forward to my meeting with President Xi of China. It will take place in a few hours. President DJT. And
NCR. And by the way, I think you all, I was part of some shutdowns myself in Congress. And the tone of the press corps is very, very different in this
Eastern,
one.
right here
you were rabid against Republicans who voted not to open the government up. And it seems like everyone is so docile. And like, what is the president's
job is connector, which means
I'm one of them all.
dialing the phone over 500 times a day, trying to connect with wealthy business owners. And until you capture Series 7, that is all you're going to be doing.
Delighted to bring up to the podium before we get our leadership reports here. I mean, over my dear friends and colleagues.
All right, it's getting very close. I had to run in. Get the old suit and tie going before the broadcast. We're about 10 minutes out from our 5 o'clock broadcast. It looks like there's still some daylight there, that sliver of daylight, as the Old Harbor Bridge centerpiece is about to get put onto the receiving barge.
They wanted to make sure that they rubbed it in your
Corpus
face
Christi
more than a
ship
dozen.
Security environment. Peace cannot be preserved by words.
NCR. And by the way, I think you all, I was part of
You see the workers doing their thing.
The press corps is very, very different in this one. You were rabid against Republicans.
And so, yeah, I'm going to have to set this aside. I'm going to leave Preston West's shot up. He's our chief photographer. He's been giving us this fantastic vantage point of this entire process. It's been really slow, and it's getting to be to where it's about to get put onto the barge. I've got to skedaddle over to the weather computers just to make sure I've got everything set up for our 5 o'clock broadcast. But I just wanted to check back in. We'll be live at 5. We'll have all these views. We're going to leave this stream up as well. So I'm going to just get off of this, and you see the view. Preston's at the Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History, watching history unfold here on October 30th. It's 4:50 in the afternoon, and it looks like just about onto the barge.
You can spot these by watching the Reddit bet. Like this guy. He's betting lavender chips at 500 each with only one little problem. He's always guessed right.
So Preston was just telling us right now that he is hearing that about 20% of the load is on the barge as we see it currently. It's 450. So 20% of the load. That means it's starting to, some of the weight is getting put onto the barge, and that receiving process in terms of the weight getting onto it has started. So again, I'm going to jump off of this. We're going to leave this stream up live for you to watch the history unfold, and our 5 o'clock broadcast is coming up less than 10 minutes out. So I'm going to leave it here. Enjoy this stream, and again, our coverage does not stop now. You'll see this all happen live on our stream.
In South Korea. Gabe, we heard optimism from the president. He was describing their relationship as cordial. We've heard optimism leading up to this. What is the last thing he said was going to be discussed?
Well, now I have to get back on and point out that that's Preston. There he is. That's the man behind the camera. I got to give him a shout out. There he is. There's Preston West. Thank you so much, Preston.
Father, brother, sister-in-law, all served in the Army, and my father long said he first really understood what it means to be an American when he was responsible for others. and others' lives. Taking care of them is our sacred obligation. So while we keep fighting for better health care,
lifeless real estate.
pay active duty.
Let's sell off these haunted houses to
All right, we'll settle for Obamacare because that's a step toward government health care. That's one step toward a single-payer system. That's one step
from monstrous
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea
That's what they
want
testing the answer.
It would be like Medicaid for all or the VA for all. They want control of your doctor, your health insurance, the kind of care you.
Really can, I'll show you clear.
309.
Dispatch from Battalion 3. Yes, sir. Just have Medical 11 make that call by themselves. We're short engines on the south side. Engine 11 is going to be available on the air.
Cantwell-Grassley legislation focuses on the fact that it is this body's job and responsibility to do trade acts. The Chamber of Commerce clearly states in their letter that they're representing millions of businesses around the United States of all sizes to try to press laws to import hundreds of billions of why Congress needs to reinstate its rate.
In other words, we're not spending enough. $38 billion in debt is not enough. They want to run it up some more. And he claims that this reckless action is needed to stop Republicans, in his words, and I'm going to quote him, from taking health
And if
care.
they do, the American sailors stand.
Looks like that vehicle's PD to animal control.
Looks like maybe he's trying to limp it off the freeway, maybe on power plug.
Time for it.
A great idea for reviving the government's great development of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe. You get a health insurance product you like, that you can keep would be a real. You get a doctor you like, you can both keep reduce costs. When you get settle for Obamacare you like, from a cost keep That's one step toward our Democrat colleagues have decided they want to go towards a government shutdown, socialized medicine. That's what they want.
A new name. It's a three-name.
It would be like Medicaid for all or the VA for all. They want control of your doctor,
returning to the
your health insurance, interruption, the kind of care that is in law. That subsidy is there. And this year,
What I
the
do know
upper
is that he
limit
was set to leave
for
the base
these
at
Obamacare
0600.
subsidies was an income limit of
Are these really questions that I was called here to answer when time falls to put
for the lowest
Please tell me that you're
insurance premiums can never sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous
So
sales.
I'm not going to answer.
It's an
I'll
idea
answer all the
only
questions
a
about nuclear
zombie
testing
would
that I'm going to
like.
answer. I want
Beforehand, President Trump putting on Truth Social just a couple of hours ago, very much looking forward to my meeting with President
and told me she's
of
never
China.
needed
It will
help
take
before,
place in a few
but
hours.
now she's struggling to
President
afford groceries.
DJT.
These are real
And
people struggling.
Those few hours
real
are
people
right
that
now, 7
Republicans are
minutes
actually
early.
fighting for.
It is
and real people that I am fighting for. Jim is not
10 p.m.
leveraged.
Eastern.
Great idea for reviving the government's great development of lifeless for reviving the government's great development to new life. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe for the tax lives because it would both that trick would be a real treat and bring tax bills because it would both reduce costs.
So I'm not going to answer.
Bring
So I'm not going to answer.
Constitution grants exclusive authority to Congress to lay and collect taxes, duties, and impose
The clerk will report the motion to
excise,
invoke
and to
cloture.
regulate commerce with foreign nations. And exercising leadership on this front should be a priority in the context of today's challenging economic outlook.
So a lot of units are being
By establishing a more deliberate process for enacting.
And like I said, I mean, we got a lot of traffic. We got wrong way driving, but LAPD even going the wrong way to try to keep up with this suspect.
Oh, that was close there. Yeah, this is really dangerous, Desmond, as you said. Very heavy traffic on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and West.
Suggest that to him, and then
We're going to see on November 1st that everybody is going to see how much these costs are going up. I'm asking my colleagues, let's roll up our sleeves.
That is so
Let's
stupid.
work.
All right, we'll settle for Obamacare.
I know that in your affordable care commerce millions of these programs where people see the highest awarded for the student with the most distinguished. He then voted for Judge Paul
real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
When someone is going 100 miles an hour on a surface street, and as I try to look in here, check this out too, Pat. I think we've got tents on.
You're going to see on November 1st that everybody's going to see how much this costs.
From a military
I'm asking my colleagues,
father, brothers, sisters, uncles, all served in the Army, and my father long said,
I know that in the
really
Affordable
understood
Care
what it
Act,
means to
there's
be American,
my clients
responsible for others,
I asked
others'
them
lives.
who
had the basic health plan.
Taking care of them is our sacred obligation. So while we keep fighting for better health care and affordable for all Americans, my bill will pay our armed forces net. It will pay active duty,
Steve Madden,
Great American cop.
Red Hot Ladies footwear impresario. And thanks to Donnie, we were taking his company public. Stratton Oakmont was crawling out of the primordial ooze. Pond scum no more.
That's why they gotta see your face.
You get them fired up so they push the shit out of this stock, okay? And not only that, Donnie and I secretly owned 85% of Steve Madden shoes, which legally speaking was a big no-no, but we'd get filthy fucking rich if our troops got behind it. Our
Alright, it's engine one.
Yeah.
Engine one, go ahead.
Yes, sir. We're on the way out home. We just passed a vehicle that was going the wrong way on the line. Is it going to be confirmed adoption?
Yeah, I mean, the abduction did occur, and we have the child now.
13 is...
Electric, they're sort of becoming an electric producing company in addition to all of the other things that they produce, including information. And what they're able to do is...
A great idea for reviving the government's ways of lifeless real estate.
bland, slam
Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life.
We're going to see on November 3rd, everybody is going to see how much this costs going up. I'm asking my colleagues, let's roll up our sleeves. Thank you for your
confidence.
$billions of dollars from monstrous. I know that it's an idea only a zombie.
Anyone can go to the World War II.
Have the basic health plan, provision modeling, something our state had first done, lowered the costs for a lot of working families across the United States. Programs like
Delta 230, Delta 250. I'm going to have to reroute y'all to this wrong way driver. I'm not sure if they turned around yet or not, but engine 1 just had a black sedan driving into oncoming traffic. Tank 1, Antelope.
NCR. And by the way, I think you all, I mean, I was part of some shutdowns myself in Congress, and the tone of the press corps is very, very different in this one. You were rabid against Republicans who voted not to open the government up, and it seems like everyone is so docile. And so, like, what is the president going to do to alleviate the pain? I'm out of the mall. Anyone can go see the World War II Museum. They can all go see the Vietnam Memorial. Again, we didn't.
Comment. And I would just say to my great friend and colleague, Claudia Tenney, socialists are now the moderates in my grandfather's Democrat Party. These are communists and Marxists. They are kowtowing to the people like Kami Mamdani ahead of the election. People are struggling in the meantime to put food on the table, and the Democrats are too busy playing politics to do anything about it. It's disgusting, and it needs to end.
Talking status. 664, the 28 expires April 2026. 2014 Jaguar, maroon in color. Polo out of Fort Worth.
A great idea for reviving the government's great lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses
like this guy. He's betting lavender chips at 500 each for the
maybe bring in buildings states with 2 Republican senators, including Florida, which is at the top on the list, Texas, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Ohio.
Jim is not leverage. Jim is a person with a family to feed. Open up the government and stop using Jim and his family as leverage to counter.
10-4.
No, Robert, Sam, 4855.
28 out of Louisiana, 664-289-01.
Project this for the 15th time, they will be ensuring that this shutdown continues past the November 1st deadline, and that is a fateful deadline for a number of reasons. Starting on Saturday, let me give you a list of things that this means for the American people. It means that tens of millions of American families will struggle to keep food on the table because the SNAP
there will be then an accelerated motion
will run
towards
dry.
resolving this issue and moving forward with the
women, infants, and children.
I'll close by just citing one conversation I had yesterday. I spoke with a small business owner from Delaware. Her name is Jan. She is a stage 4 cancer survivor. She is a small business owner. She told me yesterday, without the Affordable Care Act, she would have died 10 years ago because insurance would have dropped her. And if her rates double,
something like that happened, I basically, if the kid was retarded, I would, drive it up to the country and just open the door and let us get free now,
I mean, I was part of some shutdowns myself in Congress, and the tone of the press corps is very, very different in this one. You were rabid against Republicans who voted not to open the government.
A great idea for reviving the government's let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life. That trip will be a real treat for the taxpayers because it will both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
Arriving, ending miles 2.2.
No.
2.2, receive. 1410. We're clear for
Any precinct 1 is available to back 1105?
No.
That's unfortunate. I was just going to advise you on the second unknown man down that Delta 285 is en route to getting several calls from male on the ground yelling and screaming.
I have an unsecured back door and a vehicle pulling up on me.
Possibly blood coming out of his mouth.
We have 3 of them. Which one was that? Ford?
This is going to be the one on Ayers and Horn.
Bill's about 130 pounds. She's got dementia, and she takes her dementia medication daily.
Partisan support. Mr. President,
He's on scene requesting no code.
seeing that there are no other speakers, I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled vote begin immediately.
Without objection. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, and
responsible behavior. There's got to be 5 more moderate Democrats in this entire city who are willing to work with us to reopen.
I'm not asking for a raise, I'm actually asking for a big decrease. That is so stupid.
I would note
What
the
if he gives
absence
it
of
to you? And you know what? I am going to zone you out for us today. Okay, I need to stay focused. My examination. And I don't have to see you tomorrow or Sunday. Please don't call me, and we'll see how things go on Monday.
Colonel,
What's that?
I'd appreciate if you would address me as Colonel or Sir. I believe I've earned it.
Defense counsel will address the witness as Colonel or Sir.
I don't know what the hell kind of unit you're running here.
And the witness will address this court as Judge or Your Honor. I'm quite certain I've earned it. Take your seat.
6 is 4739. 318. 4739, 0456. Charlie 230. Yeah, I checked both north and south.
A great idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
Gentlemen from dispatch.
We were always scheduled, we were always planning to have the debate about the COVID-era subsidies and all these other issues in October, November, December. The COVID-era subsidies don't expire until the end of December. There are all sorts of discussions going on.
There are no other speakers.
Give you dozens.
I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled vote begin
At least as I mentioned on Saturday, Broadway confused in that.
Without objection.
There is one way out of
The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
and that is for the Democrats to do
I'm
their
asking my
job.
colleagues, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's
I
work
mentioned we brought some of our
lower these costs.
good friends and
I know that
colleagues
in the
here from
Affordable Care
New York
Act, there are states like
to talk
New York,
about the mess
Oregon,
that the Democrats have
Minnesota,
created in the Empire
who
State.
had
Now,
the
why are we
basic health
focusing
plan.
on New York?
The
Because
basic
again, it's
health
a
plan provision modeled on something our state had first done, lowered the costs for a lot of working families
Mr.
across the
President.
United States. Programs like
Seeing that there are no other speakers, I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled vote.
All right, we'll settle
begin
for Obamacare
immediately.
because
Without
that's
objection.
a step toward
The clerk
government-run
will report the motion to
healthcare.
invoke
That's
cloture.
one step toward a single-payer
Cloture
system.
motion.
That's
We, the
one
undersigned
step
senators, and
toward socialized medicine. That's what they want. It would be like Medicaid for all or the VA for all. They want control of your doctor, your health insurance, the kind of care you
Aye. Miss Alsobrooks, Miss Alsobrooks, no. Mr. King, no.
A road down to the dirt, and then they spend 5 years in building the new one, and then it starts settling, the whole thing. And they'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a road. I'll spend about $2. And it'll look
all right, we'll settle for Obamacare because that's a step toward government health care. That's one step toward one step toward let's sell off socialized lives the government create lifeless real that trick meditate for all reduce lives and bring in that you would be a dog tree. So I'm not going to answer bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
Prerogatives on trade as means to secure durable outcomes. The Constitution grants exclusive authorities to Congress to lay and collect taxes, duties, and impose an excise, and to regulate commerce with foreign nations. And exercising leadership on this front should be a priority as a challenge of today's challenging economic outlook.
In the Army, and my father
Establishing a more deliberate process understood what it means to be an American, and he was responsible for others and others' lives, taking care of them as our sacred obligation. So while we keep fighting for better health care, more affordable health care for all Americans, my bill will pay our armed forces net. It will pay active duty,
of the total household income.
Ask that to him, and then he'll be sure to give you a raise.
Well,
I'm not asking for a raise, I'm actually asking for a pay decrease. That is so stupid. What if he gives it to you?
Job is means
you know what? I am only 500 times a day. I need to stay focused.
fucking godmother said, I'm fucking standing. I will beat you all until you fucking die. I'll beat you until your asshole fucking buttermilk. Was it you, you fraudulent fuck? Sir, no sir. That shit you look like a fucking worm. I'm gonna woke you. Sir, no sir. Sir, I said it, sir.
Debate about the COVID-era subsidies and all these other issues in October, November, December. The COVID-era subsidies don't expire until the end of December. There are all sorts of discussions going on about that, all kinds of ideas. There's I can give you dozens of them that have been collected just in the House Republican Conference. There needs to be massive reform. There need to be income caps. There needs to be the elimination of fraud, waste, and abuse in that program, which we think.
Area 358 around. Is that from Agent 71? You can show us clear returning.
Agent 71, clear returning.
A great idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
You see the liberal parents complaining. Mississippi to Alabama and Georgia. He's someone who could have just said, I showed you the way, I'm going to pack up.
A great idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
0101. 632.
Okay.
Vietnam 8207 Highway 181. 8207 Highway 181.
I call him Jerome Too Late. He's always too late. Jerome Too Late Powell, but he's out of there in another couple of months. We'll be very happy about that. We'll appoint somebody that we all like, because we should have the lowest interest rates of any country, because without us there are no other countries really. I mean, the whole thing falls apart. You know, America always had the lowest interest rates, and now we don't do that. We're like
a great idea for revising the government's raised of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
Charlie,
yeah, I take both north and
A
south.
great idea for reviving the government's raised of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick is a real treat for the taxpayers. Because this year, reduce employment and bring in billions of dollars.
You know what? I am Sunday, so call me and
For the lowest income individuals, insurance premiums can never exceed 2% of the total household.
Fighting right now because they're worried about not being able to pay the credit card bill and the mortgage bill. There are parents who have to look their kids in the eye and say, you know what, we're not going to do football this year. We're not going to do basketball this year because I can't pay for it because the
FTA fraud. Subject is also an out of state.
Okay, 2.5.
Get with
Beautiful hit. Engine 10, go ahead. Dispatch from Medic 10 arriving 2.5.
Go ahead. Please advise on the pending calls. We have 5 degrees and 1-5. What?
And get with E21. Alright. Beautiful hit. The Conroe, no 20. Adam 210, record. Adam 2 reference, the tow vehicle, is that in the roadway?
These concerns, including, but not limited to, the Bipartisan Trade Review Act, and as well as resolutions terminating the National Emergency Declaration on Tariffs, SJP.
What follows is exclusively obtained police video which involves the attempted assassination of a police officer. Viewer discretion is advised. Reports indicate a Maradosia police officer in Illinois stopped a suspect for speeding 54 miles an hour in a 25 miles an hour zone. The speeding truck was pulled over roughly half a mile down the road over the Illinois River.
Reduce costs, it's an idea only a zombie to businesses who can breathe.
Though the body cam view is limited, police reports note several red flags. Officer Lowry observed slurred speech and the smell of alcohol in an open container near the passenger side. From aiming to throw the camera out the window.
The Constitution grants exclusive authority. It's an idea to lay zombie tax duties This week, the U.S. excise representatives exercising leadership in this procedural violation, challenging the establishing a more durable process certainty towards members of Congress continue to use this law business owners clear American families are facing thousands of dollars in higher prices.
What do you think?
We got a firearm in the vehicle, possibly it's 1055.
Yeah, sir, you're 10-1. The only thing I can understand was possible 1055.
Subject had a loaded firearm in the vehicle. He's flat on foot, possible 1055. Headed west and north. Contact by
Come on! Jim! Tweedledee and Tweedle Dumbass have been away on maternity leave. They can flicker. And now Tweedle Dumbass is back. We have a problem. Yes, getting hooked on my desk and around it. Who care about signing blame? All I care about is Megadesk. That is all I care about. Getting more green Megadesk.
Of China.
To rename it that
It is approximately their 10 p.m.
should go with this company instead, because they currently offer discounted rates for these qualifying cars for full premium coverage. This is exactly what I did, and I just got my new premium. Now I'm paying $28 for full premium coverage. This is what I used to pay for the exact same coverage as you can see here. If you want to make the switch too, it's free, easy, and quick. All you need to do is just fill out this form to get your quote within minutes. It works in any state for any age. Click the link below.
Anything like the calls I'm getting, there will be then an accelerated motion towards resolving this issue and moving forward with appropriations. I'll close by just citing one conversation I had yesterday. I spoke with a small business owner from Delaware. Her name is Jane. She is a stage 4 cancer survivor. She is a small business owner. She told me yesterday, without the Affordable Care Act, she would have died 10 years ago because insurance would have dropped her. And if her rates double,
203, he is turned towards the downtown by the approach, south side.
He's turning downtown by the approach to the south side.
Your security environment.
Now southbound on Green Street.
Cannot be preserved by words alone. It can be protected only when there is an unwavering determination and action.
Partisan support. Mr. President, seeing that there are no other speakers, I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled vote
We have a problem. Yes, getting hooked on Megadesk was my own damn fault. To that objection, I don't care about assigning blame. The clerk will report the motion to the care is Megadesk. That is all I care about. Getting more Megadesk. What damn?
A great idea for reviving the government's great lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to breathe new life. That
Just saying out last year, we food on the table, and the Democrats are busy playing politics. Anything about it. $1 million.
Chief Helmick from the Chapin Police Department drives in from the opposite direction to assist.
No. Mr. President, seeing that there are no other speakers, I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled vote begin immediately.
Without objection. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
On 104 out of
Cloture
town,
motion, we the undersigned senators and
speeds are 76. The subject does not have his headlights on.
Which direction? I would just say to my great friend and colleague, Claudia Tenney, socialists are now the moderates in my grandfather's Democrat Party. These are communists and Marxists. They are kowtowing to the people like Kami Mamdani ahead of the election. People are struggling in the meantime to put food on the table, and the Democrats are too busy playing politics to do anything about it. It's disgusting, and it needs to end.
Be advised, he does have a firearm.
Gary Peters,
we're headed back into Meredosia, just past the community bank. Speeds are 85.
No food stamp benefits this weekend to 1.4 million Michiganders, 56,000 federal workers, 189,000
88 miles an hour.
children will go without food this weekend.
Can you put
in Michigan?
Esperin out? We're in
Senator
5 county
Peters
now.
votes no.
Speed is 104. He's all over the roadway.
they are providing to
You can
us.
put an Esperin out.
I'm from the military
The Illinois
family.
State Police Emergency
Father,
Radio
brother,
Network
sister-in-law,
lets surrounding
uncles
departments
all
hear the
served
same pursuit
in the
comms to
Army,
quickly
and my
coordinate
father
nearby
long said,
agencies for containment
Great
measures like
idea.
staff deployment and air support, safety measures like
responsible for others and others' lives going forward. Taking care of them is our sacred obligation. So while we keep fighting for better health care, more affordable health care, my bill will take our forces and
Democrats are turning on the
I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled vote begin immediately.
Without objection. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Prerogatives on trade as a means to secure durable outcomes. The Constitution grants exclusive authority to Congress to lay and collect taxes, duties, and imposts and excise, and to regulate commerce with foreign nations. And exercising leadership on this front should be a priority in the context of today's challenging economic outlook. By establishing a more deliberate process for enacting
defeating Kamala Harris, winning every
A great idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick will be a real treat for the taxpayers because it will reduce costs and brings some
Pursuing white
Without objection.
truck, 1032 inside.
The clerk will report the motion to vote cloture.
Thank you, Claudia, and the others. So sad to see what's happening. But if you go back to November, our state president can take over our state, and I think he's to come back as president, defeating Kamala Harris, winning every. Thank you, Claudia, and my other colleagues from New York for coming. It's so sad to see what's happened to Brown County, New York. But if you go back to November, put the gun down, all right? All right. Comes from a military family. My father's brother shooting in the Army, and my father long said when he first really understood what it means to be American.
Thank you for this opportunity to serve the people. Be with us, lead us, guide us, and direct us. Give us wisdom, God, and the issues that we deal with on a daily basis. Give us over sin, forgive us all in His name.
Thank you, Councilman Callis and Shelley. Roll call, please.
All served in the Army, and my father long said he first really understood what it means to be an American when he was responsible for others and others' lives. Taking care of them is our sacred duty. So that we keep my bill will pay
northbound Highway 107.
That trick should be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would reduce costs.
Mile marker 4, suspect just wiped out. Suspect just wiped out.
They were in the review process. One was 15 years, one was 16 or 17 years, and they were then told, forget it, we're not going to get it approved. So I came into government, I heard about it, and I love Louisiana. We did very well there. We did well in just about all the states, but we did very well in Louisiana.
Who told me she's never needed help before, but now she's struggling to
almost
afford
15 years I got it improved.
These are real people struggling.
Great idea for revising the government's crazy lifeless health insurance. So
Jim is
let's
not
sell all health insurance houses.
Jim is a person with a family to
When you get a doctor you like, that you can heal great idea. Jim's got a life device. Why do you just keep that in buildings? Well, we would like to be associated with it's an idea.
She's never been president, but now she's struggling to afford the assistance of others.
That the already scheduled vote
Jim is not
immediately.
Jim is a person with
Without
a
objection.
family to feed. Open
The clerk will report the motion to vote
and
cloture.
stop using Jim and his family as leverage to
Chicken officer's been shot. And so has a suspect. Go over it. Get tight. Sit you down. Tight as you can get. Sit it. Tight.
Oh my God. We're gonna have to rename it then, aren't we?
now she's struggling Jim is and his
I would ask unanimous consent that the already scheduled
Without objection.
Let's sell off these haunted
The clerk will report the motion to vote cloture.
breathe new life into that trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers. Reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
What kind of medication you on? Miller Lite?
No, Adderall and alprazolam.
Okay. Well, you notice I saw beer in the vehicle, right? I can smell the alcohol.
Thank you.
Food doesn't come before the Senate will be. Without objection, so ordered. President, if there's no further business come before the Senate, move to adjourn under the previous order.
I'm gonna need somebody to drive my car.
Questions on the motion to adjourn?
Don't worry about nothing.
All those in favor say aye.
You got to take care of it. Don't worry about nothing, okay?
All those opposed, no.
Did I get
Ayes
it
appear
back
to
at
have it.
least?
Ayes do have it. Motion's agreed.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
The pursuit lasted 38 minutes total,
Great
with Chief
idea
Helmick
for
leading for 22
reviving the
minutes. That
government's
22
great
minutes covered almost 33 miles, averaging speeds of nearly 90 miles per hour, despite a maximum speed limit of 55. Helmick was hospitalized for 19 days. From his hospital bed, he wrote the public release report himself. About 4.5 months later, Chief Helmick spoke about the incident with the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police.
Just play it safe. Let's just play it safe. I think this is by far my safest.
So I'm not going to answer. I'll answer all the questions about nuclear testing.
Great idea for reviving the government's great idea for reviving the government's great
Helmick was medically airlifted, and not for the first time. In 2018, he was airlifted after a deer went through his windshield at 90 miles per hour during a pursuit.
I'm not going to answer.
First responders treated runners' injuries in the school's front office.
Together,
He was cleared to return to control duty over a year.
The ambulance was
third
ordered.
hospital and tours individual households and their budgets.
Catch him, they tried slitting the back of his jail. He was already in jail.
The Nonpartisan American Bar Association unanimously rated Josh as well qualified.
It may still be on the highway or remnants of what they were throwing out. If you could just check the area.
Should go with this company instead because they currently offer discounted rates for these qualifying cars for a full premium coverage. This is exactly what I did, and I just got my new premium, and I'm paying $28 for full premium coverage.
Harvard MBA. Robbie Feinberg, the pinhead, took 5 years to finish high school. Alden Kupferberg, the Seattle, didn't even graduate. Chester Ming, the depraved Chinaman, thought jiu-jitsu was in Israel. The smartest of the bunch was Nicky Cosby. He actually went to law. I called him Rugrat because of his piece of shit arrogance. Still, give them to me young, hungry, and stupid. No time, or make it.
Before this the Senate's going to vote for 15th time Senate Democrats are supposedly. The Senate's actually not voting today on the CR to fund the government. Do you agree with the Booth's decision to let Democrats sit with this over the weekend? They're not voting today on the CR. SNAP benefits are going to.
Great. I feel like it's beautiful.
The thing was pretty
biggest stone in the world, but I'm really high quality. Beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Put the gun down, all right? All right,
stocks that these companies get, they're like crappy companies.
Jen seems like a long time ago is now amazing is that we did those things, a lot of wars, we did so many different things, made our country strong. Thank you. Thank you. And the campaign
And by the way,
seemed like so
I
long
think
ago.
you all, I mean, I was part of some shutdowns myself in Congress, and the tone of the press corps is very, very different in this one. You were rabid against Republicans who voted not to open the government up, and it seems like everyone is so docile. And so, like, what is the
opposite of
campaign?
And they're here to share how this reckless shutdown is impacting everyday New Yorkers. And I'm delighted to bring up to the podium, before we get our leadership reports here, one of my dear friends and colleagues and classmates back from the 115th Congress when we came in as freshmen together, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, who is from the 22nd District of New York. She does an extraordinary job here for her state and for the country. Claudia, go ahead.
Jerry Chin Sr., Jerry Chin Jr., and Richard Lopez. I cannot contact them via radio. Those are the three persons we're looking for tasks.
Getting tremendous help from Secret Service, and we are at a point where Washington is booming again. People are pouring in.
Aye. Miss Alston Brooks, no. Mr. King, no.
Engineer, go ahead.
Ask that to him, and then he'll be sure to give you a raise.
Well, I'm not asking for a raise. I'm going to actually be asking for a pay decrease.
That is so stupid. What if he gives it to you?
I win.
You know what? I am going to zone you out for the rest of today. Okay, I need to stay focused. And I don't have to see you tomorrow or Sunday. Please don't call me, and we'll see how things go on Monday.
Are now the moderates in my grandfather's Democrat Party. These are communists and Marxists. They are kowtowing to the people like Kami Mamdani ahead of the election. People are struggling in the meantime to put food on the table, and the Democrats are too busy playing politics to do anything about it. It's disgusting, and it needs to
A great idea for reviving the government's graveyard of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trip could be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from tax savings.
So I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
That would pay service members and invest more in the capabilities they need to keep America safe. I'm grateful for...
Hey, put the gun down. Put the gun down, all right? I came here to talk some sense. All right, just act professional. I can get you your money. Just act. I can get you your money.
Oh, no. Hey, hold on, from the military. What time I got to Obama? I've seen him, man. So I know what he did.
Oh, no, I'm no longer
It's working for me.
6 minutes, that's good time.
Now, the reality is,
I'm gonna need your tie.
No.
Your necktie, take it off.
I'm not taking my tie off.
Save it. Save it, Jeff.
Okay, listen to me. Listen, stop. I need to know what is happening right now.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in
$314 a month to $452.
In or out of what?
No
time for questions,
Another
just
example
action.
from a
In
family
or out.
of 4 in
Okay, well, then I'm out.
Parents making
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Then why would you ask
me? Because I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
And you get a payment price.
Okay, listen to me right now.
You
I
can
don't know what it is that you're into, but what I do know is that I am really 100% out. Do you understand that?
God, you are good. Calvin Jordan, president of the drama club for a reason, folks.
You're like a snack size Denzel.
This week, the U.S.
It's not a game.
Senate voted
I'm being serious right now. I'm out.
Labeled President Trump's tariffs on Brazil and Canada.
Okay. I can't say I'm not disappointed. You're right.
I'm out.
Well, I'm just happy that we can communicate openly. Honestly, I think it says a lot about our relationship. Here's the thing, there's only one way to do it. You gotta get in there.
What is it that...
Whoa, get my gun. You should kill some pages. Come on, it's not gonna bite you. No such thing. I think you'll like it.
I will not.
Yes.
He's in there! Rob's in there! He's got a gun! He's got a gun! He's out!
But not limited
All right, I'm gonna need your
to
impossible.
bipartisan trade review
Hostage role
act.
play. You ready?
Sweet,
let's go.
No, I said no!
Declaration on tariffs SJ 88 and SJ Res 77. The Chamber urges members of Congress to work across the aisle to enact this legislation requiring an up or down vote for any new tariffs and those imposed in the year to date.
From hoses to hand tools, lighting to ladders, Grainger has the right stuff right when you need it.
It's going to be a male sitting across the street from the batter's box. Looks like he's going to be smoking. He also has a magazine in his hand, white male, black shirt, black pants. He's looking at his phone. And then the magazine.
Beg your pardon.
Aye.
I'm not through with my
A great
examination.
idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate.
I'd appreciate it if you address me as Colonel or Sir. I believe I earned it.
New life.
Defense counsel will address on witnesses
That trick will be a real
naturally, I agree with my own.
You're not talking to Dwight right now. You're talking to Jim.
Sell off these haunted houses to businesses.
Pam, I'm over here.
New life.
Disconnect that right now. Give me your
meetings. For the taxpayers. Because it will both reduce costs
Team Commander
and bring in billions of dollars
and the executive officer.
It's an idea only a zombie would like.
I'm going to see on November 1st that everybody is going to see how much this costs.
I'd like to know just what the defense
I'm
counsel
asking
is
my
implying.
colleagues, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's work lower these costs. I know that in the Affordable Care Act, there are states like New York, Oregon, Minnesota, who had the basic health plan. The basic health plan provision modeled on something our state had first done lowered the cost for a lot of working families across the United States. Programs like
approximately there 10 p.m. Eastern right here on our seaboard.
405 to 318. Charlie, 230.
A great idea for reviving the government's great of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous
So
sales.
I'm not going to answer.
It's an idea
answer all the
only
questions
a
about
zombie
Justin,
could write. It's a great idea for reviving the government's rage and lifeless real estate.
I think this is
Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers.